welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button down below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content, if you find it useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form, or you just want to give this channel some love. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking why it's so important you never apologize for your asexuality, and I'll be explaining exactly why that is and the consequences of doing so. But first of all, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy. I'm an asexual author and I published this book in 2017. As you can see, it's a little bit worn because I use it a lot. And basically, I interviewed 46 asexuals across the globe and across the asexual spectrum. I tell my own personal story. And that book is to celebrate our diversity across the asexual spectrum, our differences within it. And asexuality is a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction if you're new to this channel. So all the people in this book are on the asexual spectrum because sexuality is a huge spectrum. So if you ever want that book, it's very helpful and insightful, especially if you're new to asexuality. Click the link down below in the description. So in today's video, I want to discuss, like I said with you, why it's important to never, ever apologize for your asexuality. So I want to say hello to my friend who's on ASAP. They know who they are. I'm not going to say their name, it's confidential. But I want to say hello and lots of love to you. I really appreciate our conversation we were having on there. And obviously, people tell me a lot of stuff in confidence, and I keep a lot of secrets. There was a little bit of a conversation with them that I felt was okay to just share in a general sense, which I let them know about, just to help other asexuals. So hello, you said you'll be watching. Lots of love to you. So really nice of you. So obviously I want to be very careful what I said, but the main thing I want to say is never ever apologize for your asexuality. So this person who's a lovely friend on ASAP, they were saying that they explained that basically they were asexual to their parents and their parents didn't understand. And so basically they gave up. But not only did they give up telling their parents, hello, my best friend Sam, lots of love to see you. It's lovely to see you. Thank you so much. So yeah, so basically my friend on ASAP, they said that they'd spoken to their parents, explained to the parents they were asexual, and they gave up. They just gave up with it. But not only did they give up talking to them about it, they said that they took it back and said they might be mistaken and confused. Now, this is the worst thing you can ever do as an asexual person, because you literally drain yourself of your personal power. You are literally giving power to other people to decide and make assumptions over your sexuality for you. This is something that you never ever want to do, right? You need to be proud of who you are. You should never ever give your sexuality over to the decisions of other people. You should never give up being who you are. Right? If other people don't want to hear it, that is their problem. It's not your problem. If other people don't understand, it's their problem. If they've got a lack of understanding, it's not your problem to change people. You can only educate people. And sometimes it takes a very long time. Like I've mentioned on this channel before that I had two people, one person of these people I told originally, they didn't believe I was asexual, right? They said, you just haven't found the right guy yet. Come on, you're really into guys. You love guys, which I do. I like younger foreign guys a lot, right? I never ever tried to cover that up, you know? But imagine if that time when she kept saying she didn't believe me, she kept going on at me. Just imagine if I'd given in to that. Because if you say stuff like, oh, well, I might have been mistaken, I'm confused, it just confirms the stereotype of asexuals, that we're confused about our sexuality and we don't know what we're talking about. And it invalidates not only the individual person who's asexual, but invalidates asexuality as a whole. And therefore, it makes a lot more difficult for us as a whole community going forward to actually stay strong and be strong in our own personal power, in our own sexuality. Right? And it's not fair to yourself. You know, it's like undermining who you are as a person. This will undermine your self-confidence. It will undermine your self-esteem. It will make you feel bad about yourself because you're not being true to who you are. This person says, I know who I am. I'm not mistaken. So don't pretend that you're mistaken. Don't act like you're mistaken. Act from a place of strength and personal power. You have to understand in life, people will always judge you. There's people judging you every single minute of the day, every time they come into contact with you, every time they think about you, every time they see you. There's people that are going to be judging me. Hi, Liam. Hi, Sandra. So good to see you. Lots of love. Nice to see you too. And so there will always be people who would judge you. There will be people that judge me all the time for this channel. I have people that subscribe, loads of subscribers, and I have loads that go off. Up and down, right? If I worried about all the subscribers I lost, then I wouldn't be here for subscribers that are my community, my fan base, the people who want to be here and show up and who care and who want to change their lives. This channel isn't your regular asexual channel with memes and pretty pictures and objects and stuff like rings and flags and like funny things to look at. This is serious personal and professional development channel for asexuals. It's very different and unique to many of the other asexual channels out there. So I don't just talk about asexuality as a blanket thing. I don't just talk about asexuality in asexual context. I talk about asexuality in real life contexts of situations, dating, relationships, everyday life. You know, and especially obviously because I'm quite well known for asexuality around the globe now. You know, I get people recognizing me, but you will always have people judging you, and you can't give your emotions and your life over to these people that judge you, because you'll just be a nervous wreck and you will never live the life that you were born to live. You are beautiful. You're like an eagle who needs to spread its wings. You need to bask in your own magnificence and beauty. You need to stand out from the crowd. You're born asexual for a reason. You're born because you're special. You're different, right? You're born to shine. You're born to shine your asexual light on the world. You're not born to hide it or to worry about it. You're born to come out about it. Right? And people will judge you. Some people will criticize you. Some people don't understand. You have to learn the art of not giving FCUK. Because if you keep caring about what other people think, you lose your personal power. And this is very, very, very soul destroying. Right? Your self-esteem will go down, your confidence will go down, and your morale will go down. You have to learn to love yourself despite what others think or say or do or don't say or do. Right? You have to love yourself as a whole being every single day of your life, regardless of if anyone talks to you or not, regardless if people judge you or not. People will always judge me. Even I judge me, you know? I'm constantly judging myself, which isn't a great thing to do. I have to say, though, that judgment isn't necessarily a bad thing in general. People make judgment out to be so bad. Judgment, it can be used in a good way because it can be used to assess where the situation that you're in is a good situation, a safe situation or not. So judgment per se has got a really bad name. You know, as we grow up as kids, we've got to use our own judgment. And the fact, if we're not allowed to use our own judgment and that's taken away from us, we become indecisive. We become not trusting ourselves. So it's only actually through making judgments about life, situations and people that we get to understand ourselves and we get to be in our personal power. Now, the juxtaposition irony of this situation is obviously judgment can be a very bad thing, because the more you judge other people, the more you can judge yourself. And this can be a negative thing, or it could be a positive thing. You could judge people as in, well, what could I learn from this person? What new stuff could they bring into my life? What could I do to open up to them? How can I judge the situation as safe to want to do that? You know, because judging, we have to make judging is like forming an opinion of someone, right? So from little kids that we grow up, we're told not to talk to strangers. We're told not to do these type of things, not to play with knives, not to get involved with bad people, not to. But you've got to like judge a situation. Like, is that an actual knife you're using to carve up a turkey or a carrot, or is that a knife that's in a really precarious position, or that's coming towards you from someone? Like when you're crossing the road, is it safe to cross the road? If you do talk to strangers, which you're gonna have to later on in life, what type of situation is it? Is it in a supermarket scenario? Is it a stranger at the bus stop? You have to judge that situation, which requires you to judge that person to a certain extent to see if it's safe or not, right? So we always have to form some sorts of judgment, and they're there to protect you, right? And so when people make judgments, they do so through their own tinted glasses of life. They do through their own life experiences, whatever those are. If they've gone through life and they've had really pessimistic people in their life, really negative people in their life, and really people that brought them down, they'll naturally be very wary of new people coming to their life. They'll naturally be very wary of, is this person going to be good for me, or going to be the same negative person they've always had in their life, right? They're always going to be wary of that. If you're a person who's been in relationships with a certain type of gender and that gender abused you, you might then be like, well, I'm not sure I would ever want to be in a relationship with that gender because I've got experience of that gender from one or more people that aren't very good. So I might not want to be with that gender, you know what I mean? Because we always use judgment as in terms of assessing situations, but also ongoingly through our own life experiences. So judgment isn't necessarily bad things. It's designed to protect us, keep us safe, but also it can stop us opening up our minds and opening up our worlds. And obviously people that aren't asexual, that don't understand it, they will be a lot of them who come from traditional anonormativity background, if you know what I mean. Like, you grow up, you have sex, you get married, you have kids, or get married, have sex, have kids, work a 9-to-5 job, then basically go out, meet friends and die. It's a very like the same sort of thing, watch TV at home, all that type of life. This is what is kind of classed as normal. And so when someone from the outside world, when someone from their inner family world comes out that they're different and they see life differently, some people are shocked at the fact I work during the night and sleep in the day. They can't even handle it. They're like, what? Like, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure that's what makes you happy? Like, there's something wrong with me. It's like, no, there's nothing wrong with me. It's how I work well in my creativity and work well with myself. It's how I vibe. It's how I thrive and flourish. When I've tried to do it the other way that people do it, it's not good for me. I'm not a morning person. I don't work well in the morning. I'm not energetic. I'm not focused. I'm not, the more the day goes on, the more alive I am. The more I want to eat at night, the more I want to live at night, the more it suits my personality. I like living that. There's people that do day jobs even and night shifts. Most people complain and don't like them, but there's some people that love them because there's less distractions, and less things and less people around, and kind of like, some people would prefer to work at night. It's just a personal preference, right? So we have to understand in life that people always judge us, not just for our sexuality, but for our lifestyle, our mindset. I don't want to do housework for a guy. And people will judge me on that. They'll be like, oh, well, that's not very good, is it? You know what I mean? Because, well, why wouldn't you if you care about someone? It's like, I care about someone, but I don't want to resent them at the fact I'm doing housework and I don't want to do it because I don't like it. I've been in that position before, I judge myself even. Like, I've got, I'm doing this channel. Yeah, I've got an erogenicity channel I've just started up, right? That channel is going to be predominantly mostly sexuals that come on there. That's very different to being asexual and not wanting sex. And so thanks for the thumbs up. And so, that's kind of like, for me, I'm judging myself thinking, should I be doing that channel? Like, what are people going to think of me? Like, what do I think of myself? I think it's kind of crazy. I think you're kind of like complete opposites. It's like one person doing opposite things. It's kind of crazy, but I know it's the right thing for me to do because I can help so many more people, and in turn I will help asexuals. I think it's crazy. I think it's kind of weird myself, so I'm judging myself, but I have to cut myself some slack. I have to know intuitively it's the right thing for me to do. And and I believe I'm the person that needs to bridge the gap between asexuals and sexuals. I believe I was put on planet Earth to bring asexuality to a larger sexual market, and the only way I'm going to do that is by actually getting to know sexuals more and getting to understand their mind more. I think I understand it pretty well since I was in heterosexual relationships for over half my life, but get to learn it on a more emotional, personal level of how they feel, and steer them away from trying to get into relationships with asexuals that don't want sex. If they are not, if they won't accept asexuality, right, then they're not going to accept there's people that come along in their dating life that don't want sex, and this is not going to be good for asexuals. So if I can coach and as well sexuals, Liam, I fully believe in you. Oh, thank you, Liam. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you so much. So if I can coach as well sexuals, not just asexuals, and I can show them how to have good relationships that they want. I mean, obviously they'll want, the majority of those will want sex in a relationship, right? But if they do, they need to know about asexuals and accept it, because there's going to be 1% of the population that don't really want that. And unless they pay attention to that, they aren't going to get the sex they want, and asexuals are always going to end up in relationships that is no good for them because the other person wants something from them that they can't give. Obviously, there are asexuals that are sex positive and do have sex. So I have to put a disclaimer in that bit there, because I respect everyone in the asexual spectrum. And just because someone's asexual doesn't mean to say they can't have sex if they choose to do it. But and if they're happy to do that and it's consensual, but I need to get through to the sexual market. It's no good just keeping asexuality within LGBT and set frameworks. It's better to open it up to the bigger wide world, so people are going to judge me for that. I'm judging me for what I'm doing. I kind of think I'm crazy, but I am crazy, so it's good, right? But I don't fit into a stereotypical asexual box. I really don't. I find that where I am is a very unique position. It's very different to heterosexuals, traditional heterosexual, very different to a lot of asexuals, and I do find that hard sometimes, but I'm realizing more and more that difference again is a beauty, and that's what we have to do. We have to think our differences are our beauty. We do not take back our beauty. We rise and we shine and we come alive in our own personal power. This is why you must not take back your asexuality. You must not talk to someone about asexuality, and because they don't like it or they don't believe it or they're judging you badly, you don't apologize and say, well, I'm sorry I'm asexual, or okay, maybe I'm mistaken, because that takes away your personal power. It takes away your confidence in who you are. If you want to get an asexual partner, you need to be out there. You need to be saying, look, I'm asexual, to your parents, to your family, to your friends, right? Don't let them keep thinking, and going on at you, why haven't you got a partner yet? Why haven't you got a partner yet? Why haven't you got a boyfriend yet? Why haven't you got a girlfriend yet? Why aren't you going to have grandkids? Have grandkids yet? All this type of language is their expectations, right? You don't have to meet other people's expectations. You don't. That's their expectations. They're called theirs for a reason. They're not your expectations. That's theirs, right? From traditional upbringing, from family, from the way society is, whatever it is, right? But we cannot be sheep in the world, right? Our difference is our beauty, and you need to not give away your personal power. Don't be browbeaten. Don't be knocked down. Expect there to be criticism. Expect there to be judgment. Then you won't be disappointed or afraid or fearful of it. You know what I mean? I know that people are going to judge me. I know some people are going to frown upon what I'm doing. I know some people are going to hate what I'm doing. I know some people don't even like the fact I mention sex in my asexuality channel. They hate it. But I have everyone across the asexual spectrum, and I have been in sexual relationships before. I'm not going to hide that. I'm not going to hide who I am. And someone came on my other channel there's not even an asexual channel, and said, by the way, don't talk about sex. I'm not going to talk about sex when my next book coming out is Asexual Guide to Sex, right? It's just not going to happen. And, and we need to talk about sex, including the people that don't want it, including why we don't want it, because we have to live in a highly sexual society where, we like it or not, we can refrain from talking about sex. I don't watch TV. I don't watch things with sex in them, usually. I try to avoid everything with sex in sculptures, in paintings, And, you know, some people say to me, oh, Sandra, the media is so sexualized, right? Yeah, I agree. But you have a choice to watch it or not watch it. Some things flick on your Twitter feed, some things come up on Facebook. I know this happens, right? But people will still sit there, are asexual, say they don't like sex, they hate watching it, and they will watch their TV programs religiously. If you really hate something, you don't want it to affect your life, cut it out. Be strong enough and brave enough to cut it out of your life. And most people can't. They've got no willpower in this respect, right? It takes great strength of character and willpower. You have to try and do these things to get out of bad habits and patterns if it's really affecting you. Otherwise, I would argue it's not actually affecting you that much. Otherwise, you do something about it. When the pain is worse than the gain, or the gain is worse than the pain, then whatever's the worst, you'll do it. So if it's too painful being stuck in that situation, you'll change it. Right, but if it's not, you won't. So if you're saying it's highly sexualized and you hate it, like I hate sex in movies, so I specifically buy movies and go and see movies that don't have any sex in them. Like I've barely got any videos. You know, I can think of one where I've got a bit of nudity. Sam, I just posted something relevant on this on Facebook, which can be summarized as: always be true to who you are. The right people will be in your life. No one should fear being who they are. Oh, right, Sam, this is quite strange. Sam's my best friend. Yeah, this is really strange. Obviously, I didn't know that because, I mean, I've had quite a busy day and things are a bit like, not with asexuality, just business things are a bit like, woo-woo. Yeah, it's a technical problem stuff, not to anything for people to worry about. But yeah, I've got to do training soon as well. Training starts in like 6 minutes. I've got a long training night ahead. It's like 7 p.m. So yeah, I think that's a very good thing, Sam. Like, yeah, always be true to who you are. The right people will be in your life. No one should fear being who they are, and that is totally true. I posted just before you came on here. Great, souls think alike. Me and Sam are soul friends. So yeah, it's really good, really good. We have sometimes we have this like type-minded thoughts, which is really cool. That's incredible, Sam. Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, it's totally true. You know, the right people will be in your life. You know, I mean, obviously this person was telling their parents, and their parents just didn't understand it or believe it or accept it. But it's not up to you to you know, to carry on, you know, like, and convince them, if you like. I mean, what I would do is I would keep saying that you are asexual, keep saying and saying and saying till that's why till people got so fed up with it, they just tend to accept it, even if it's a year later. They're like, oh, for God's sake, yeah, okay, fine, you're asexual. And I'm like, yay. But what I'm saying is, you don't, you know, you should make it your mission to be yourself and to keep talking about your asexuality rather than trying to change people. Right? The people will either change their opinion or accept it, whether they don't believe it or whatever. It's not up to you to actually convince them to a point where you're trying to change them. It's up to you to be in your own beauty and essence and to keep being you. Liam, usually I would change the channel if there's sex on or whatever I'm watching and switch it back later. Yeah, Liam, see, that's really good. Like, even with my ex, like I hated heterosexual ex I'm talking about. I hated sex in TV programs. I was literally just like, or movies, I would literally, if I had a DVD or Blu-ray, I would literally fast forward it. Like, he got more stuff obviously with sex than I did, and I would just fast forward it because I hated that type of thing. And he's like, oh, but it spoils the plot. I thought, yeah, really? I thought you don't have to watch sex to know the plot. I mean, a lot of these things you can just pick up. I don't like it when people say that. It really annoys me personally. I know some people disagree with me on that, but it personally annoys me because I'm like, no, you just want to see the sex or the nudity. To be honest with you, you can't help yourself. Because like Liam said, if you really don't like it, you will switch it off, you'll switch it over, you'll fast forward it, walk out the room. If you really don't like something, right? If people say they don't like something and they're still sat there, it's kind of like, okay, well, obviously it's not that bad then at that point in time. I mean, obviously there's certain scenarios. I'm not talking about where you're in a relationship and you're in danger and you have to kind of sit there and face something. I'm on about where you've got your own free will and willpower to go and choose to do what you want in life. There's certain scenarios where you have to do things that you don't want to do just to, well, you shouldn't have to, but there's certain situations that you might get yourself into that, you know, you've got to keep yourself safe, and that's the most important thing. I don't want to go into that, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, you know, what I'm saying is, with this video, is you need to be in your personal power. And if you pretend you're something you're not, if you pretend to be heterosexual, you're living a lie. You know, if you are not expressing who you truly are, you're not being your true authentic self. That's who you were born to be in this planet Earth. You're born to be your true authentic self. And the more your true authentic self, the more you actually enjoy living in this world in your crazy, quirky splendor, right? I live the lifestyle I absolutely adore. Other people would probably think it's quite strange and they would like more of a normal lifestyle. It doesn't interest me. I don't get any pleasure out of that type of lifestyle. I've been there, I've done that, the 9 to 5 lifestyle. It doesn't suit me. You know, I've been like the engaged person who's at home and comes home and does the job and watch TV. It's not who I am. You know, it's probably not who I ever should have been. You know, but we're conditioned by society to think to be a certain way, you know, and you have to understand that a lot of the sexual world is conditioned. They're conditioned in their brain like a robot to think like sex is just natural, sex is healthy, sex makes everyone happy. But they're not just conditioned to think this with individual cases. They're conditioned to think this with everyone, and that's a problem. There's some people that love sex, they enjoy it, they get pleasure out of it, they feel happier when they're doing it, they think it's healthy and feel that way, and that's great for them. I am not knocking what people naturally believe in themselves, but what is not good is that people having this impression that everyone should be like this. And if someone's not like this, there's something wrong or broken or weird or crazy or not normal about them. It might not be normal as in the sense that we're different to the majority of the population, but it's normal for asexuals not to want sex. It's normal for us not to get the need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse. It's normal for us to not look at someone and think, I want sex with you. It's normal. That's natural for us. It's not healthy for someone to be in a relationship where the other one's pressurizing you for sex when you don't want it, when someone's valuing the relationship based on sex and that's not how you value it. It's essential that when we get into a relationship or approach getting into a relationship, that we've both got the same type of values in that way, that we've both got the same sort of wants, needs. This includes asexuals with other asexuals. There are some asexuals, and I am far too asexy for them. I am far too like into kissing, close physical body contact with clothes on. That is too much for some asexuals. They're like, that's too much, you know. I know it is, and I respect that. I don't want to be with a guy who would be uncomfortable with that. You know, I'd feel like I couldn't be close to him, and I was going into his boundaries that I don't want to cross. I need a guy who's got similar types of boundaries to me, who wants a similar type of non-sexual, sexy relationship, if you know what I mean. You know, so you know, you can, you know, like I am asexual as in the sense I'm quite like, you know, when I like to sit on my guy's lap in between his legs, kiss him, really hold him close body contact with clothes on, that is too sexual for some asexuals. I know that. I'm quite aware of it, but that's the thing as well. Self-awareness, again, is your personal power. Right? The more you spend time on your own, instead of worrying and fretting, oh, I'm single now, will I ever find a partner? Yes, you're going to think that way to a certain extent. Yes, you're going to care. But the best thing to do is to become very self-aware. Become very aware of what you like and what you don't like, what type of lifestyle you want going forward, what type of things you want in a relationship. You have to become aware of yourself on a very, very high level to know who you are. I'm very confident and comfortable in who I am. I have no problem going up to a guy in a club and kissing him, which, you know, is kind of like what most, even a lot of people wouldn't even do regardless of their sexuality. I have no problem doing that with a guy I find super attractive. You know, other people would be horrified by that, you know, but it's all about self-awareness and about understanding your own boundaries and how you want to present yourself in the world. But you can be beautiful. You can be like different. You know, there are some asexuals that do Liam, usually I would change the channel if there's, oh yeah, we've already said that, if there was sex on, and switch it back later. Yeah, so thanks for the thumbs up, you know. So, you know, you have a choice, like going back to what Liam said, you do always have a choice in life. And obviously you can choose not to come out about being asexual, but it's not going to help you grow into your personal power, right? Everyone's put on this planet Earth for a reason. Everyone is born to find out who they truly are and to grow and thrive and flourish. And self-awareness is very important. Why is it important? Because with self-awareness, you can begin to form friendships, not just relationships. You don't have to be a relationship, but the more you are self-aware, the better friendships you can actually create for yourself. Because if you're not aware enough of yourself to know what you like or dislike, and then someone comes along and there's things you dislike, you would like immediately start getting kind of repulsed by this person, and they might understand, I think they've done something wrong, and it's just the fact that you had different expectations. Do you know what I mean? You had different needs, you have different things that you like and dislike. So self-awareness, self-love, self-acceptance, these all come from being true to who you are. These come from standing your ground and saying, I'm asexual. You know, saying to your parents, look, I'm not interested in sex, mum and dad, or whoever your parents may be, whatever gender they may be. You know, I'm not interested in sex. It doesn't do anything for me. And you might think, well, why would I want to tell my parents this? It's a very private thing. But if you've got your parents and they're going on about you saying, when have you got a boyfriend? When are you going to have a girlfriend? Right? You can say, look, I'm asexual. Or if you're aromantic, I'm aromantic. I don't experience romantic attraction. I'm not interested in being romantically involved with someone. I don't experience love in the same way as everyone else, but I'm very happy being me, love having friends, and that's all I need. And just be happy for me, you know, because, you know, there's this thing that, oh, if you're not in a relationship, you know, where it's romantic or otherwise, that you're not going to be a fully functioning human being, or you're going to be lonely when you're old, or, but, you know, aromantics, there's a lot more aromantics than any other sort of asexual on planet Earth. And if you've got other aromantic friends that really understand you, you can just have the best companionships ever, right? You could live in a house full of other aromantics if you want companionship in that way, you know, without it being a relationship. There's lots of different alternatives, different ways of being, you know, so you have to understand that the best type of life for you is waiting when you actually grow into your personal power and accept who you are in your own beauty, you know, and you're proud of it. Because if you take back who you are, it's like saying you don't understand yourself, you don't know yourself, and therefore everything you say from then on about your sexuality is just confusing. And it's, you know, like, and it's lying to yourself and to others. To actually say, oh right, I must be mistaken, is actually lying to yourself and to other people. Lying is never a good thing. You must know on this channel that I don't lie to you, that I tell you the truth, that I sit here saying I've got an erogenous side to me with the guy's upper body, despite being asexual. I know some people run a mile from that. They're like, why does she say that? That's weird. It's strange. I agree. I'm agreeing with you. It's strange, but it's the way I am. There's no point in me sitting here pretending I haven't had sex in the past when I did. What's the point in me lying to you? There is no point whatsoever, right? So it's best to live in your personal power. And people who do actually vibe with you, who resonate with you on some level, even if they're not the same as you, they will be drawn to you. You will help them in their journey because you are actually explaining your life journey. You're explaining how things are for you, right? And by taking back and saying, oh, I didn't mean that, I'm confused, you're actually doing the whole asexuality community and asexuality in of itself a disfavor. You're doing not only yourself a disfavor, but the whole of asexuality, because you're basically saying that asexuals are confused and they don't really know what they want, which is a stereotype we get given by sexuals who like to put us down or belittle us or make us feel like we're not a whole person, there's something wrong with us, like our hormones need checking, or it's just a phase going through. You're actually empowering those type of people to come at us with those comments by arming them with the fact that you're saying that you're confused when you're actually not. And I know that when you said that, it's probably come from a place of scaredness, of fearfulness, of fed upness, of, oh my God, they just don't get it, and I'm bashing my head against the brick wall. But it's not up to you to change your family or your friends. You can't change them. All you can do is stand in your personal power and keep repeating the same things. There's something I learned a long time ago, and that is repetition. And when you're putting boundaries and being assertive, you know, is to repeat the same thing. You know, like if you say no, just keep saying no. You know, no, I've said no. There's no, 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 no. Obviously, if someone doesn't like your no, they're free to leave that conversation, walk away, do their own thing, leave your life, whatever, if it's, you know, whatever the no's for. So you have to understand for every action, there is a reaction, right? But just because person might not give you the reaction you're hoping for, that's because you have an expectation or a want or a need from this other person. They might not be able to provide that, right? So we're judging the fact that we want them to have this, you know, to agree with us or accept us. And as much as I'd love that to happen, it doesn't always happen, or not straight away. But we can't alter that. All we can do is keep being ourselves in our personal power, keep going forward with strength and courage and self-love and compassion for who we are. And we need to stop worrying about what other people think of us. It's not always easy. I struggle with it sometimes myself, as you know. I'm not saying it's easy, but we need to be striving to do that. We need to be striving to not care what people think of us, to not worry. Life is too damn short, I'm telling you. You know what's going to happen in the next minute, second, or day, whether we're going to be here tomorrow or we're not, right? So every moment you should be living in your own personal power and being true to who you truly are, despite being scared and fearful. I get scared and fearful. I mean, me starting another channel that's kind of like the opposite in some ways to asexuality is very like scary for me, but I know I can do it. I'm confident in that channel. I know I can help people categorically. I don't have any underconfidence issues like that. I just find it very out of my comfort zone at the moment in some ways, but I'm very comfortable about talking about that type of thing as well, because I'm not actively involved in sex, I have no problem actually talking about it. I'm personally sex repulsed for me, but not other people. If it's consensual and they enjoy it, you know. So I have a skill of being able to be detached from those type of things a lot more, you know, because it doesn't affect me. I'm not having it. I don't intend to have it ever again. I could have it if I really, really wanted to, and if I liked it and wanted it, or, you know, but I don't. That's just what I mean. I get very bored of it, right? It's not what I want in my life going forward. It's not who I am. And, you know, and I don't feel it'd be healthy or make me happy. It's not like I couldn't do it again. I thought about it, but it's like, really? Do you want to try that? Because I think you get bored, because, you know, you were bored rigid before with it. And you were just like, I want to do other things. And you just want the kissing, you know? So, but it's all about self-awareness, isn't it? And please never, ever, ever take back who you are. Don't say to someone, oh, I'm sorry I'm the way I am. You know, I used to be very apologetic as a child. I used to always be saying the words, I'm sorry, please, thank you, sorry. And all this, I used to be saying sorry about everything. Oh, sorry, I'm doing that. And it became like every day I was saying sorry about something. And I realized after a time I had to get my mind out of it, like to stop saying sorry as much, you know, and to back off and to say sorry a lot less. Until now, I try to say sorry that things I've got wrong, because I make mistakes, you know. I do make mistakes. I'm not right about everything. I do hear things differently sometimes, you know, to what other people do. And I make mistakes, and I honestly say sorry. And, you know, if I inadvertently hurt anyone, then I say sorry about that as well. You know, I'm definitely not perfect, and I do care about people. But it was like, years ago, it was like an obsessive sorry, because I was so underconfident and so insecure and so worried about what people thought of me. I was apologizing for anything and everything pretty much, you know. And it's kind of a nervous sorry, like sorry, you know what I mean? And it kind of ended up driving myself insane after a while. I was thinking, Sandra, you've got to get out this is a bad habit, right? Because it's really bad. It's kind of like putting everyone else on pedestals, making yourself wrong all the time, and not trusting yourself, and just like apologizing for being in life pretty much, you know. That's not what you want to do. You want to get used to practicing things that are uncomfortable, like being in your personal power, like, you know, saying that you are who you are, and that you love who you are, despite the fact your parents, your family, your relatives, your friends might not agree with it. Of course, it's good to get a support network if you can while you're doing this. It's good to talk to other asexuals online, even if you can't get to speak to them in person, because when you build up a support network of people who are like you, it will give you the strength and determination to actually say who you truly are. It will give you the strength and personal power. It will help enhance. It will validate you to say you're okay being who you are. You aren't broken. You're asexual. Your absence of sexual attraction. You're not interested in sex. It's true and right that there are people who don't want sex. It's healthy for those people to not have sex who do not want it. It's healthy for those people to form long-lasting friendships if they want that, relationships if they want that, with people who understand them, people who accept them for who they are, and people who, you know, they just surround themselves with people who are positive for them being themselves. You know, this is what you need to do. You need to go away as much as possible. Obviously, if you're your family, if you're your parents, you can't, like, well, some people disown them, but I mean, I wouldn't recommend that. You know, you have to understand that people are different generations. They have different mindsets. They have different values. They have different beliefs. It doesn't mean to say they're wrong or we're wrong. It just means to say we're different. And sometimes you just have to limit your time with people who understand you less and be around people who understand you more, right? Because then if you've got negativity all the time and it's weighing down on your shoulders and it's pushing you down, then you probably might naturally feel like giving up. But don't let them wear you down, and don't negotiate your asexuality. This is another thing I've said on this channel time and time again. Your asexuality is non-negotiable. You have to have this strong fire in you. Even if you're an introvert, you have to be like, no, my asexuality, I know myself, I trust myself, I believe in myself, I am asexual. My asexuality is not open for negotiation. It's not up for you to sit in a room and have your parents and family and friends debate whether you're asexual or not, and what it actually means, whether it's a phase or not, and something you're going through, and where you're broken or got hormones problem. It's not up for debate. There's nothing to debate. Asexuality, like, this is the only thing where a lot of people believe sexuality is fluid, and it can be, but at the same time, your sexuality is fixed in that moment as you believe it. Do you know what I mean? It's not open for negotiation once you've decided who you are. You could change it, but at that point in time, it's fixed with who you are, who you're. So you don't let people negotiate your asexuality. You know what I mean? I hope I'm making that clear, because obviously asexuality could change. You know, someone could be heteromantic down the line, like 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line, meet one person they happen to form a deep emotional bond with, and they get some sexual attraction for and realize they're actually demisexual, right? That can happen, but that does not invalidate your sexuality and your asexuality in and of that moment. Your asexuality is not negotiable. If you want someone to help explore your sexuality and your asexuality, maybe you're just new to asexuality, that's different. If you're open to exploring it, you feel it's fluid at the moment, you feel it might change, or you might be ace flux even, which ace flux, there's 2 types of ace flux people. One type of ace flux person is someone who fluctuates on the asexual spectrum up and down it. And another type of ace flux is someone who fluctuates between sexuality, so between asexuality, like grey asexuality, and being sexual. You know, so there's 2 types. So you can fluctuate, actually be a flux in you know, in part of your actual sexual orientation. But what I'm saying is, in terms of other people's opinions, it's not up for negotiation, as in they're not allowed to sit around, you know, you don't allow them to sit around the table and decide what you are. Thanks for the thumbs up. Oh, B4 Tech, lots of love to you. You know, it's not up for them to sit around the table and decide, oh, so let's discuss our son, or let's discuss our daughter, or let's discuss our offspring. You know, it's not up for them to decide and say, well, I don't think they are because of this, and I've never heard something so silly in all my life, because everyone wants sex, don't they? You know, the silly stuff they come out with. You know, it's not up for negotiation like that. Once you've decided who you are and what you are, or even if you just know you're asexual but you don't know where you fall on the spectrum, that's it, right? It's not up for someone else to negotiate, right? It's up for you to decide for yourself. Otherwise, it means we need to negotiate sexuals. Every sexual person we meet, every heterosexual person, we need to actually be negotiating whether they are actually sexual or not, and to what degree they're sexual, and how much sex do they actually have when they're sexual. Because you could say someone who wants sex twice a month is very different to someone who wants it every day. Do you know what I mean? And you could start arguing their sexuality. You know, well, why don't you want it more? And why does that person want it more and not less? Do you see what I mean? You can negotiate anyone's sexual orientation if you really wanted to. But we don't negotiate heterosexuals' orientation usually, do we? We don't go around saying, oh, so you've told me you're heterosexual. All right, then let's kind of like prove that you're heterosexual. It doesn't usually happen, does it? So why do we have to prove we're asexual? We don't. We have to live in our personal power and be happy with who we are. Liam, unfortunately, there's a lot of correctional rape specifically against asexuals. I have to say, Liam, that is a very bad thing. A very bad thing. There are a lot of correctional rapes specifically against asexuals. Now, this is a very, very, very obviously sensitive topic that is very difficult to discuss, right? Because it does happen. We have to know that whatever sexuality the person is, asexual or otherwise, that rape is not on. It's disgusting, and no one should ever be raping anyone, regardless of their sexual orientation. What Liam is referring to is with asexuals, because in the main we don't want sex. We're not interested in it. A lot of people who aren't asexual believe that they can fix your orientation because they believe something's wrong with you and broken. And that the way they fix it is basically if they're a guy sticking their dick in you, to be perfectly honest with you. And it's really disgusting, right? There's nothing broken. There's nothing wrong with being asexual. And the world needs to know this. Sexuals need to understand this in a very convincing, very matter-of-fact way. They don't currently, a lot of them don't currently know this, right? But there are genuine people who, like me, not interested in sex. They get bored by it. They don't want it. They find it repulsive. It turns them off. It's not interesting for them, you know? And so, you've got to understand, there's people who are more sex repulsed than me, you know, because clearly I do have some grey areas, right? But there are people that categorically will never try sex in life, don't want it, they want to throw up even at the thought of it. There's some people who watch this channel who do that, you know, and they just disgusted. Sam hates sex, you know, and so you have to understand that it's not right for someone to have sex and think that's going to fix a sexual orientation. It's like if a lesbian is forced to have sex with a guy, it doesn't make them stop being a lesbian or stop being attracted to, you know, if they're a woman, it doesn't stop them being attracted to another woman just because a guy decides to have sex with her and tries to force her to change her mind. And you'll notice the word force, because that's what it is. You know, like I had a guy even on Facebook who I've been friends with for some time saying, oh, well, if I came over to the UK and you had sex with me, it'd be different. It's like, no, it wouldn't. And I wouldn't want to go anywhere near him when a guy talks like that. It's disgusting. Sam, well, I hate the thought of it. Never actually done it. Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, I'm glad you said that, Sam. Yeah. And so it's just like, you know, no one should be thinking to fix anyone. You know, people need to be more accepting in society. But the only way we're going to get people more accepting is by accepting ourselves, by acknowledging who we truly are, by living our truth, you know? I mean, my parents are very conservative. They don't talk about sex. Growing up, I wasn't spoken to about sex with my parents. They were like, school will teach you that, which they didn't. School did an absolutely rubbish job. And so, you know, my parents don't talk about sex. Like the fact I do this channel, my dad watches sometimes. Hello, Dad. Picking up tips. I have to laugh about these things. Do you know what I mean? But it's kind of like, you know, they might not approve of their daughter talking about sexual stuff, but they've kind of had to get used to it, whether they like it or not, you know, because I'll always be true to who I am. Unfortunately, that happens to gays and lesbians too. Exactly, Liam. You know, and we need to be true to who we are, you know. I think I always refer back to the quote in my book, my Asexual Perspectives book. There is someone that says in this book, for a highly sexualized society, we don't have enough open, honest conversations about sex. And so that's why I do talk about it quite a bit on this channel for an asexual channel. That's why I'll be talking about, obviously, much more in erogenicity, which is my other channel, which isn't for geared towards asexuals. It's for people who do like sex or are sex positive. but you know what I mean? But I need to get through to sexuals. I need to be, they need to be looking up to an asexual person, because a lot of people, they don't look up to asexuals, do they? Right? And so we need like more positive. I'm not just saying about me, but we need more positive role models in the sexual world as well, helping sexuals so that they understand that asexuals can be their friends. Asexuals can understand them well. I probably understand them a lot more than a lot of asexuals, because obviously I've been in heterosexual relationships half my life and thought I was heterosexual for years. So I'm kind of coming from that mindset place of I knew what it was like to be in that life, that world. I prefer being in the asexual world, I have to admit. I know it's the same world, but it's like being in two separate worlds as well. Because asexual is just so different. You know, when I have an asexual meetup, I can just relax and chill and have a laugh and just be free to relax and be me without any sexual tension, without anyone wanting to get in my pants, without anyone like looking at my boobs, without anyone like thinking about me like that. It's just like I can relax and have fun. Do you know what I mean? It's just so much better for my health, you know, because being asexual, I just find that a happier environment for me to be in. But I do go out clubbing and I am really happy in that environment. I mean, dancing with amongst foreign guys is just high octane energy for me, and I love it. So there, you know, I can be around sexuals. Like actually, since my asexual journey has gone on, I'm not so afraid as I used to be around being with around sexuals, because at one point I got so kind of worried and scared about being around sexuals because of obviously the sexual expectation. But because I'm very boundary driven and I'm very strong these days in my asexual, I don't want sex. I'm very good more and more with physical boundaries. Then I'm a lot more confident and comfortable being in that type of environment that I was for a while. Liam, they don't believe we exist. Yeah, I mean, I do talk to some people who do know about asexuality. But like you said, Liam, there's a huge proportion that still don't believe we exist. But then we aren't very, if you think about the world as a whole, it's all geared towards sexuals, and it's all very geared towards you know, the sexualized world. And kind of like, because asexuals haven't got a big enough voice a lot of the time, then it's kind of like the articles that are out there, they're better because they are educating people. Some people are learning about it, but you know that they're not enough. We kind of need a bit more, like sexuals kind of dominate the world. We kind of need a bit more like asexual dominance, if you know what I mean, or at least asexual equality in terms of like getting our voice out there, you know, like if we had like billboard posters, if we were all over the TV, the radio stations, if we were all in a mass media campaign, which obviously would take a lot of money, then you know it would be a lot better for us to be consistent and persistent in the media, you know. But you've got to have that over a long period of time, and you've got to get through to the sexuals, not just LGBT, because sexuals are the ones that really don't understand us, particularly heterosexuals I'm talking about, you know. And the more that we can, you know, the more asexual activists they are, the more people that are doing asexual articles and blogs and that are actually representing asexuality as it actually is, in all its nuances and facets, and you know, genuinely asexual, then is really good. But the main point is that we need to know that we exist as we are, you know, and we shouldn't be giving into peer pressure or family pressure or other things to push us to try and cripple us in our own beauty, like, you know, and take away our personal power, saying, oh, you're asexual, it's a phase, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I luckily do have two parents who are accepting my asexuality. My actual parents are great about my asexuality in general. They do have their times when they're like, they do have their times when they find it a bit difficult because I talk about it so much. But they do accept it and they know it's me. So you know, so they do, you know, they do find it, I guess, a bit strange sometimes, I think, from what they've said occasionally, but the majority of time, you know, it's what I do, isn't it? I mean, it's my whole life. I literally live and breathe asexuality 24/7, 365 days a year. You know, it's just a huge part of my life. I mean, today on Facebook, there was a new guy connected with me, and he was, because this book is in my profile picture, and he's saying, what's asexual perspectives? What's asexuality? Can you explain it to me, please? You know, so I said it's a lack of sexual attraction. Then he started saying, oh, I'm a romantic person who doesn't like sex. I'm like, well, I didn't meet you in an asexual group. and you're in it with a bunch of entrepreneurs. That's how come you connected with me. And of course, within the like next few certain magical messages, he was like, "Oh, great, we can live together." I'm like, "No, we can't." Like, I'm in the UK. Oh, you can come to Indian guy again. I'm like, "No, that's I'm not going to get with a guy who I don't know. Thank you very much." Despite the fact I like Indian guys. You're the only person I have seen really promoting asexuality. Oh, thank you, Liam. I mean, obviously there is a lot of other asexuals. I know you've been on some other asexual channels, haven't you? Because I've come across you on some asexual channels. But I am on here a lot. Like, I don't know anyone that live streams as much as I do. You know, and you know, I know there was one person who came on last year to Facebook, and they were saying that another person who does do some work for asexuals, but they said that I do a lot more. They said I should get more recognition, which I thought was very nice of them. They're like, why is this person who's, they didn't even know they're asexual. They are asexual, but they're on the grey end of the spectrum. Why are they getting recognition and you're not getting much? But at the end of the day, I will carry on doing this for a long, long time. There are some people who YouTube channels, they just don't post many videos, not regularly, and also there's people that are that add asexual channels for quite a while and then they just disappeared off face of planet Earth, and you're kind of like, really? You've just and they've got far many more subs and people keep subbing to them, but they haven't uploaded any videos for a year or more, and you're kind of thinking, why are you subbing to someone who clearly is not actually invested in asexuality anymore in terms of getting it recognized still and talking about their asexuality and stuff. I will always be talking about my asexuality because it's a huge part of who I am, and I really do need to promote asexuality more and more and more. I have to. It's a mission and passion for me. It drives me all the time. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, anything, I don't really make a profit out of stuff I do for asexuals, because some people are like, oh, you sell asexual merchandise. I'm like, yeah, but I only sell a few of them occasionally. I've got loads of favorites. People like the pictures, but I don't have people buying them all the time. Sam's one of my best customers in that respect. Sam's my asexual model on asexualise.com, by the way. If you haven't seen Sam, go and check them out. They are literally a non-binary asexual model. You saw them here first, and yay, Sam's got a smiley face. So yeah, I'm very blessed to have a best friend who's actually a very great asexual non-binary model on asexualise.com. The link's down below. You can see them wearing some of my hoodies, and my books, I tend to sell this book every month since 2017, so it's getting word out there of asexuality. But you know what I mean, any little bit of money I make from these, they just get put back into domain names, renewing domain names and stuff like that. So I don't do it for that reason. I do it to help people, I do it because I love helping asexuals, and I do, things do cost money. So website design, when I publish my Asexual Guide to Sex book, I've got to pay for because I self-publish under my own imprint, I've got to pay for a typesetter, I pay for a book cover artist, so that type of thing, so but I do asexuality and promote it because I think it's very important. And one of the reasons I do it, going back to what Liam said, is that because I don't want people who don't want sex to be raped. I don't want this correctional rape going on. I want children to be brought up knowing that it's okay to have love in a relationship without sex, that it's normal for some people to have that. It's normal for some people to want it. That's why I promote asexuality all the time. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because I don't want children thinking that they've got to have sex in a relationship to have love. That is the worst message that's out there, and it's still out there now all the time. There are kids' TV programs where the girls, the girls even 10 years old or even younger, 6 and 7, they're being, having loads of makeup on, being told to put high-heeled shoes on, being told to preen themselves for men, for guys, for boyfriends. because guys are the be all and end all of life, you know, and they're told to like put makeup on, and that is not, you know, I wear hardly any makeup. Like the majority of time on my asexual channel, I wear no makeup. You might have known, like my hair's a little bit stuck up today. So what? It's natural, right? You know, and that's why I do the work I do for asexuals, because I really, really want to stop that happening. You know, I was told in 2014, when I first found out I was asexual, that I would have to have sex in order to keep a good guy. Do you imagine what that did to my mind? Do you imagine how I felt at that time? It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It was the worst thing she could have possibly said to me. It makes me kind of tearful, as you can see. It was the worst thing she could have possibly said to me. That is like a license for a guy to rape me. That's basically what it's doing. It's disgusting. Why is that allowed from a counsellor? Why is it allowed anywhere? Why is it people think they have a right to come along and do that to someone and it changed them, or for their own personal gratification and pleasure, regardless of how the person feels about it, having it done to them? This is what is so wrong in society. This is what is so wrong. There are people, I know some women who love sex. For the men who love sex, there are women that love sex. Go and be with one of those women who love sex. They're out there. I come across them. I used to have a friend, actually, who lived in my city, and she loved that. Really into it. You know, so it's an actual myth that loads of women don't like that. There is quite a lot that do. But they're not, you know, they're not asexuals. They're heterosexuals, usually. People who are on the sexual spectrum, you know? So there are people who love sex. Go and be with someone who loves sex as much as you if you want lots of sex. But don't try and take something away from someone. Don't try and take someone's body and use it for your own means, and just use it because they don't want that. That's what upsets me. That's why I need to get asexuality recognised globally on a huge, huge scale. I don't want people growing up thinking they have to have sex to be loved. That's what I grew up thinking in a way. I mean, I grew up knowing that it's my body, my right to say no to a guy. My dad always taught me that, which is really good. But I didn't think I could get love in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship without having sex with the person in later years when I'm 16. Well, you know, a guy tried it on with me when I was 15, if you know my personal story in my book. The link's down below in the description, by the way, if you do want a copy of Asexual Perspectives. My personal stories in there, you know. But you know, I was underage at 15. I didn't even anticipate he was going to do that. It might have been pretty obvious to people, but if you're asexual, it's not obvious a lot of the time because you don't think that way. You don't think, oh, Liam, the other asexual channels I visit do post, yeah. The other asexual channels I visit do post, yeah. So, you know, it's just, that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm doing this channel. That's why it's really my mission and passion to get asexuality recognised globally. I would absolutely love it. It was recognised by all like royalty, prime ministers, like them or not, you know, politicians, religious people. I just like everyone, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, counsellors. You know, I'm the only, as far as I know, I'm the only asexual and asexuality coach in the world, as far as I know. There's some counsellors that specialise, well, that are asexual and specialise in asexuality. It's one of their things, but I don't know another coach that does. You know, and I'm getting more and more people coming to me to want my coaching advice, you know. I mean, I don't give free one-to-one advice anymore because I haven't done that. I'm not able to do that, you know. Like, I do need to, like I said, I need to pay for my domain names and stuff like that, you know. And you know, I don't have time to go around every single person individually nowadays. So that's why I do this channel as well, so you can ask me anything you want in chat about asexuality, you know. And obviously I have my book, which pretty much explains the majority of things in there as well. So, but you know, it's really important to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation globally, you know, in and of its own right. Because at the moment we are, you know, kind of like clumped with LGBT, which is great in LGBT world, but it's no good very much in heterosexual terms, and well, because they don't understand the difference. Because the rest of the LGBT people who, you know, are not asexual, if you're not asexual, you're sexual. So other than the LGBT people that are asexual, the other ones aren't. And so heterosexual people don't really understand the difference. They're just like, well, you're just attracted to a different gender or the same gender. You know what I mean? Like, you're just a woman attracted to a woman. People think I'm attracted to women because I say I'm asexual. It's like, no, they just assume that because I'm different, you know? So it's very, very important that you stand up for yourself in life, that you stay true to who you are, despite adversity, despite the fact people won't agree with you all the time, that people would judge you. We're always going to have people judging us. Always. You can't get away from it. If you know, otherwise you just hide yourself in your home 24/7, 365 days a year. And why should you be miserable for someone else? Because that's giving them your personal power. You have to understand your emotions need to be with you, not at the mercy of other people's. Like, I had a really rude business guy come in my private message today, right? And he was trying to make me feel bad because I wasn't accepting his offer, you know? And it's like, no. And he was trying to get me to justify why I thought the way I did. And I'm like, I've already said why I feel the way I did, and that's it. I'm going back to work now. You know, you don't need to sit there or stand there justifying yourself over and over again for being asexual. I'm using the business analogy because it's something that really happened today. Now, I was shocked. I mean, I've got there's some things that are going on business wise that I might need to swap to another website not another hosting provider, possibly. And this guy decided, I didn't ask him to come in my private message. This guy decided to post in the group and offer an alternative to what I'm currently using. And of course, he's going to be a referral partner. So he's going to get commission if I go through with it, right? Now, when I click through the pricing, it's like 400 and something, nearly £500 for a year, or 1,000 and something. Like, I don't have that type of money. I only have like 3 asexual courses, for example, one of which is free. And you know, it's like, I don't have that sort of money, right? Most of the stuff I do for asexuals is still predominantly free. As you know, like on this channel, I give a lot of educational advice and help and guidance. So do you know what I mean? It's kind of like crazy. And then I actually looked at this. Someone else gave me the link to this, and I'm telling you this because, you know, you have to trust your own judgment. So I went on this site, and despite how many reviews it had that said it was good, right? Don't forget, some people are paid to say reviews, or they're a partner as well in the company, so it pays them to actually give good reviews. But when I went to the home screen, the homepage, there is literally no way of contacting this customer, this company on the homepage. You said just to register, like invitation only, clicked to have an invitation. Why would I request to have an invitation from a company that I can't actually ask any questions to? It literally had a copyright down the bottom and the footer and a list of what they do, and it didn't have any visible terms and conditions pages, which is law, right? You should always have a link to your terms and conditions. It's law. I do website design with WordPress. I know this. This is by law. It's supposed to be somewhere up above or in your foot usually. Nothing with terms, nothing with conditions. No contact us button, no chat bubble, nothing. Right? So basically anyone could stick a page up and say a few things about something they do with no price tab either. Nothing. That is useless. It's a huge red flag. People not having transparency, not having to contact us on their homepage is a huge red flag. Why can't I get hold of them? When they've got my money, what are they going to do with it? Right? And then when you click through and actually manage to find an article somewhere, which I did, I clicked through the guy who owns the company, right? And it's been in beta since July 2019, over a year. And they're promoting it. It's like, oh, you can get it for free while it's in beta to test it, right? But it's like, it's been in beta, and then you'll be charged this amount of money, right? And it's like, well, it could come out of beta any time soon. Like, well, this person said, oh, this year or next year. It's been in beta since 2019. If everyone's getting it free, then how would it stay alive anyway, the company, if there's no charge for it? It doesn't make sense. And there's no contact us button. It's just a huge red flag. I do not trust a company. I don't trust a company like that, you know? I just don't. And so there's no way I want to go for something like that. And so I said to the guy, I explained that I was a woman actually sent me the link before, and I would have gone through her if I wanted to get it, because I've known her for a while, not just some random dude that shows up in a group saying, oh, basically get my offer with this other company and tries to give me a load of marketing spiel. You know, I would have got it through her because she's a genuine person. I know her in a group for a while, and we've chatted before as friends on Facebook. She's a lovely person, right? And so in the group, I said to this guy, the reason, you know, like it's a huge red flag not having a contact button, I looked at them and I don't trust them. So I won't be giving them my money. And then I said the same thing in private message. And then he turned around and said to me, thanks for wasting my time. And I mean, that is so rude. Absolutely so rude. So just because I wouldn't click through and get his offer, which would mean he would get some money for it, and you know, and the fact he didn't have to put a message. I didn't ask for him to private message me, but he wanted to sell me something, and because I didn't buy it, he then makes me out to be a bad person. Like, he's going about, I said I don't trust the company, and he's like, why? I said, I've already said why. I'm going to be returning to my work now, so I'm not going to sit there and justify. He goes, oh, you're mistaken with your red flags, you've got a lack of good judgment or something like that, he said. I can't remember his exact words, it's in here, but it was just so rude. I blocked him. You know, I'm not going to be spoken to like that. So it was just really rude. But what I'm saying is, you have to trust your own judgment in life, and you have to go with your own instincts and that. So yeah, this was the guy, and he's like, Lizzie said, your huge red flag is seriously misplaced, and you have access for free to the platform right now. I have been selling with it for over a year. And I put, I don't trust them. I trust my judgment. And he's like, based on what? I already said, now I need to get back to work. Thanks for your time. And he's like, thanks for wasting mine. You know, that is just very arrogant, narcissistic and nasty. You know, and I could sit there worrying about it. I'm like, no, I'm even more glad I didn't go now, because if that's the type of people they have even buying that product, or getting it for free for a year, or whatever he's doing, I don't want to know. You know, there is no way I want to go with a company that doesn't have a contact us button on there. You can't get hold of them. What does that say about the company? They don't want to be contacted and ask questions. It's ridiculous. It's unprofessional. So even if it does come with all the bells and whistles and everything, I'm not going with that, because I don't trust it, you know? And so what you need to do in your life is, you know, when you have got people that are like, you know, that is a business judgment, right? It's someone being rude to me, right? They're trying to manipulate me into saying I'm a bad person because I'm not giving them what they want, which is my business, right? And they're trying to undermine my own judgment of myself. Now, this translates to asexuality, because people who come across in your life, who come across you talking about asexuality, will try to get you to not to basically destabilize you in order to manipulate you, right? So what they will do is they come along and they will try to make you not believe you're asexual. They will try to disprove it, try to pull the I was nearly saying wool and rug, so I decided to say wug. I decided to make words up in my mind. They will pull the wool right over your eyes and pull the rug from underneath your feet. I'll just say rug. So yeah, I swear I'm going to have to make up a dictionary one day. You're going to have to buy this very odd dictionary. You don't have to. You can just admire it from afar. But I mean, I was just saying that as a figure of speech. You don't have to do anything in life. And that's my actual point. You don't have to do anything in life. So I just think maybe I'll just put a dictionary out there for me and just decide to reel off some strange words. Because it's fun. But yeah, anyway, going back to all seriousness, you know, we need to be careful of people like this that try and undermine our own being, our own intelligence, our own judgment, you know, and that try to like manipulate us into thinking that our reality is not our reality and that they're right and that we're wrong. And so this is how it translates into asexuality, because there are people that'll be like, so tell me, like, why do you think you're asexual? But they won't do it in a Like, obviously you could be exploring asexuality and you could just be chatting with friends and they'll be like, oh, so what made you come to the conclusion you're asexual, which is fine. But I'm talking about the people that come in your life that are trying to destabilize your own view of yourself in terms of asexuality, and they'll come along and be like, oh, so why do you think you're asexual? Like for example, that woman tried to do it with me, the person who is my friend for a long time, but then when I first told that friend about my asexuality, it's like, but come on, you like guys you're always talking to about guys. Now, she wasn't doing it as a manipulation tactic. She was doing it just because she'd never heard of it before. She didn't understand it. At that point, she didn't want to accept it. She was uncomfortable. It's something strange to her, weird and crazy, and she wasn't used to it, right? She's not coming from a malicious point of view, right? So obviously you have to put it into context, know the person, understand what's going on. But there are some people that will come in your life and they will try to destabilize your opinion of yourself in order to manipulate you into trying to force yourself to say that you're wrong about yourself, that you're not really asexual, that you made a mistake, or to feel bad about who you are, so you don't tell people you're asexual because they are uncomfortable with it. And these are the people that you need to be aware of, right? There are people that aren't intentionally trying to hurt you. They just don't understand it. They're uncomfortable with it. It makes them kind of squirm in their seat because they think it's strange or weird. And actually, to me, it's like, well, sexuals are a bit strange and weird, aren't they? They like this thing called sex, and it gets very hot and sweaty, and there's stuff that comes out everywhere, and that's kind of weird. You know? So sex is equally strange. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to look out for these people who will purposely try and destabilize you, you know, and who will manipulate you. Like that guy was, that guy was trying to do that business thing. Right, you're not asking for people's opinions on whether you are asexual or not, unless that's what you're actually asking, unless you're coming to terms with asexuality and you genuinely want people's opinion. But don't ask people who are sexual if they think you're asexual, because they're not really going to understand asexuality and know what it's like to be asexual. Ask other asexuals, and even then, you might be a very different type of asexual. I don't fit into a perfect asexual box. Right, so some other asexuals might not understand you, There'll be some that are really sex repulsed that don't understand me. They might be like, well, how can you be sex repulsed yet you have arousal? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make much sense to me, and I'm the person who experiences it. So I have to agree, it doesn't make much sense, but it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's just what it is. And so I accept that about myself. I love myself for who I am and for all my nuances and craziness, it's the way it is. Right? And so we have to understand that we need to accept ourselves in order for others to accept us, or not, as the case may be. And we need to just be in our personal power and know that we've done nothing wrong, and that we're not in the wrong by being asexual, that we're not broken. There's nothing to be fixed. And, you don't want to grow up just hiding who you truly are, right? Some people don't want to say things to their parents. So, like, why would I discuss my sexuality with my parents, right? But if there's situations that keep cropping up, like I said, where they're expecting grandchildren, or they're expecting, like you to get a boyfriend or girlfriend, keep going on about it and worried about you being so lonely, and you're there thinking, well, especially if you're aromantic, thinking, well, I don't even want a relationship. I don't want a relationship ever. I'm fed up of people going on about it with me, and I'm sick to the back teeth of it, and it's making me really uncomfortable. Why should I want a relationship just because a lot of people in society do, when I'm happy on my own just having friends all my life? Do you know what I mean? And if you feel that way, be strong and brave about it. Tell them. Just say, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in a relationship. Not that type of person. Doesn't interest me in the slightest. I'm not that way inclined. Or say that I don't have romantic attraction. I'm not interested in people romantically. It's not my thing. Doesn't do anything for me. And reassure them, I'm perfectly happy without that, I mean, in me personally, obviously I'm a romantic asexual, and I would like to be in a romantic relationship eventually with the right asexual guy, but I'm quite happy on my own. I might be on my own forever, because I'm a very strong person on my own. I'm very strong. I'm actually my home. Being a single person is part of my personal power. Sometimes when I get into a relationship, that power is actually disintegrates, which is what I don't want to happen, which is why if I ever get into a relationship with a guy, I need to be with someone who is very good for me and is very strongly boundary driven like I am, and who's very respectful, and who actually looks up to me in a respect way, not as in a, like pedestal bad way, but like respects me and looks up to me as in awe of the type of person I am as a human being and my quirks, you know what I mean? That thinks, God, she's really different. I love that about her, It drives me crazily in a good way. Like, I love to see her because she's so different, you know what I mean? That type of awe-inspiringness, I have to, like, I need to be with someone who enhances my personal power and not breaks it down and puts walls against myself, So far over the years, I've actually been a lot happier without a relationship, being out of a relationship, being single and loving my life and being who I was born to be. And, very much I am very, very powerful as a single being. I'm stronger, more confident and self-assured. Like, some people aren't. They're more confident and self-assured being in a relationship. The only danger of that, obviously, is if they're putting their emotions into the person and the person doesn't work out in the relationship with them, then they could actually end up not being unhappy and crying and be very worrying because they're giving their emotions to the other person, which is never a good thing to do. Obviously, if you're in a relationship, of course, that person will have some of your emotions. That's natural, even though we might say, oh, well, it's not good to do that. And it's all right saying that in theory, but in practice, that's not how it really works. And you've got to be vulnerable in a relationship in order to make it work. If you're hiding all your emotions all the time and not opening up to who you truly are, you can't emotionally deeply connect with that person. So there is going to be some vulnerability. There is going to be emotional stuff there. But you need to find a person who's going to empower you, empower your personality, empower your emotions, not do everything for you, not be the be all and end all life that you can't live on your own, that you can't do things for yourself, because that means that you're relying on the person for your total happiness, which is the wrong thing to do. It's too much pressure on them. Right? But they should be able to enhance the happiness you already have within yourself. And you're not happy within yourself, make sure you're happy before you get into a relationship. Because if that relationship crumbles, you're going to feel like you're dying inside, that they were your light and they were your happiness. Whereas if the happiness comes from within yourself and your own being, regardless of what happens to that situation, yes, if you split up, you're going to be devastated and upset, but you're not going to taking your personal power away, because you're still going to have some of that left, even though you're going to feel a bit like heartbroken. You're still going to have your center. Whereas if you all your self-esteem is put with another person, being in a relationship with another person, that's not healthy for you personally if something was to happen to that relationship, because that means you'll go downhill very fast if you come out of that relationship. Whereas you need to have strength and courage to be strong in and of your own right, and then when you get into a relationship with someone, they should enhance that strength. So I haven't met the right person yet for me, because I've not met the right person to be in a relationship with someone who enhances my strength and personal power and doesn't take it away. I'm not saying they actually go in and specifically decide to take it away. It's just they're not the right person for me to be in a relationship with, and I worry. I've got relationship anxiety, so that is a huge problem. But I think the right person, if I've known them for a very long time, will be good for me. It's got to be someone who's very boundary driven, who's very strong, who knows exactly what they want and knows their own mind well, and who really supports me and cares about me and loves me and loves my quirkiness and kissing. They gotta love kissing too. And so so always bear in mind that like, never apologize as well for your asexuality when you're coming across someone for a relationship. Don't hide it. Tell the person you're asexual. Tell them what it means. Explain that. Do it up front. Then you're not hiding yourself. You're not leading someone down the garden path. Just like it's not fair if sexuals pretend they're asexual or they abstain from sex until marriage. Then if you're an asexual person gets married, they expect sex from you. Just like that's very unfair, very bad behavior, and very not morally or ethically right. It's the same goes for being asexual. You should tell a person who you want to be in a relationship with you're asexual and how that affects you and your asexuality. It's like, even if you are autistic, for example, I've got a lot of autistic friends, you should be explaining I'm autistic and this is how it affects me in a relationship. Now, you might not know how it affects you in relationships, so you have to think and become very self-aware, even as an autistic person, how your behavior affects other people. How does it affect your friends at the moment? How does it affect your family? Because you get a good judge of how it would affect someone in a relationship. Some people who are autistic are very good at having relationships. Other people aren't. They can't handle it. And by their own admission, it's something that makes them too anxious, too nervous. And I understand that, because I get relationship anxiety. Mine stems from having bad experiences and not finding the right person. because I do have an anxious personality to a certain extent, you know? Like, in terms of like personalities, you can get, there are different types, but you can get two main types as well. And one's like an avoidant personality type, and one's like an anxious person type. So an anxious person will fret and worry about things and what's said or what's not said, whether someone texts them or doesn't text them, whether, you know, they'll pay attention to like little words, little things, they'll get worried about it. Whereas an avoidant type, they'll probably retreat and just take time out and not even tell the person what they're doing. Obviously, an anxious and avoidant might not work necessarily well together if that's going on. But then if you've got two anxious types, it can be quite difficult as well. But, you know, if you're an anxious type of person, you need to tell the person you're going to get into a relationship with, like, I'm an anxious type of person. These are the things that trigger me. These are the things that, you know, make me feel uncomfortable. So that person needs to work with you on those things, you know. But never apologize when you're getting into a new relationship, potential relationship for your asexuality. Never say, oh, look, I'm asexual, I'm sorry about that. Means you won't be getting any sex out of me. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like putting yourself down and not valuing your own worth. At the end of the day, if a sexual person gets into a relationship with you knowing that you're asexual, the onus is with them. And if you don't want sex and they've said that's okay, the onus is with them to maintain your boundary on that. Obviously, everyone has the right to change their minds. They might decide they don't want to be with you, but that's the same for any relationship. It might not work out. It's very risky in that way, but that's why you have to be very certain and sure before you get into a relationship that this person is highly likely to be the right person for you. You know, highly likely. One of my other friends on ASAP, they said that you know, that they're not suitable for me romantically, but they were talking about, you know, they'd like to get married, settle down and get married. And I was quite surprised because I didn't think about them in that context, because obviously we're not romantically compatible, but I didn't even think about the fact they would want to get married, because I guess it's something I don't personally think about. And so I was like, oh, but they say it was have to be with the right person. And I totally agree, you know. I mean, there's so many people getting divorced, and it's for a number of reasons. Communication is the number one reason usually people get divorced, because it's a lack of communication. People don't express how they really think and feel, and they keep it bottled up to themselves. It's hard sometimes, you know, like even and the majority of the time I know how to express myself, but there's a few things that even I still struggle with. And I like, how do I say this to the person and come across fine to them without actually just blurting it out, you know? And that's kind of because I am a black and white girl. I am a very blunt person. I tell it like it is, obviously. But you know, there's ways that you need to say things that are better, less judgmental, more feeling, more onus on yourself than the other person. So, you know, as well, when you're explaining asexuality to friends and family, you know, like, act as though, you know, like, okay, you don't understand, it's fine, but I'm still asexual. Oh, Kyle, hey, oh, Kyle came on the other day and said you're beautiful. Thank you, Kyle. What's the discussion on? Well, we've been having a discussion now for nearly an hour and a half. So I've said quite a lot. The discussion is on basically about asexuality and about not it being non-negotiable and not apologizing. Missed the notification. Yeah, it's about not apologizing for who you are. Liam, I'm an autistic asexual. Both I struggle with at school, which led to my depression. I'm autistic and asexual both. I struggled with at school, which led to my depression. Yeah, Liam. Oh, bless you. Yeah, I mean, it is difficult. I mean, some people who are autistic, like I've got some autistic friends, and actually Sam's on the autistic spectrum, but Sam is capable of having a relationship. Like, I know they're capable of having a relationship, and they kind of thrive in a relationship environment. Whereas I know two other people, I've known more than that. Two other people I'm speaking to, who are my friends at the moment, and they'll likely be my friends probably forever. Particularly one of them, because one of them's our other mutual best friend. You know, they find it difficult to be in a relationship. So yeah, they find it difficult to be in a relationship. and it's kind of like too anxiety inducing for them, and sometimes they struggle with their emotions. Some autistic people, they can struggle with their emotions, and they could be up and down like a yo-yo, and it's very difficult if you're that type of autistic person for someone else to be in a relationship with you if you're up and down in terms of you don't know what you want. And that's not just for an autistic thing, that's across the board of people not knowing what they want. But with some autistic people, it's kind of hard for you to manage your own emotions and for you to manage yourself. So having another person involved just really complicates things, and it makes you feel stressed and worried and anxious and nervous that you just can't do it. Therefore you choose to be on your own a lot more, even though you'd really like to be in a relationship. There are possible ways around that, but it requires an autistic person to really want to be in a relationship in the first place and really think it's healthy for them to be in a relationship and really know how to behave and be in a relationship. And some autistic people, they don't have those skill sets. Doesn't mean to say they can't get it. There are autistic people that do well in relationships. It's just a matter of kind of retraining, learning new skill sets, developing and growing yourself, becoming confident in who you are, understanding your thoughts, feelings, emotions, being able to express them in a constructive way. So some autistic people are like they only kind of hurt themselves in terms of emotionally. Maybe they hurt themselves physically, which I do not recommend doing, and get some help for that from the Samaritans or something like that, obviously. But some other autistic people, they have emotional outbursts. They start shouting, getting angry. They might start having physical stuff going on, like punching walls and things, depending on what type of autistic condition they got. For example, ADHD, it's possible to have behavior like that. Or even just, if your autism frustrates you and you don't understand yourself, sometimes that can cause stroppiness and that. But all you need to do is to have some training and some new skill sets and develop and grow yourself. It might take you longer and be harder into curbing that stroppiness, that aggression, that kind of like anger side, so that you can learn to express your emotions in a very constructive manner that says, I'm feeling really upset right now. I'm feeling really angry right now. This is why I'm feeling angry. This is how it's making me feel. So that you're not actually going like, you're actually explaining I'm angry. So you express the feeling and emotion that you're feeling without actually getting into the actual mood of it, if you know what I mean. You're feeling angry, but you say you're angry rather than expressing anger, if you know what I mean. So obviously, I could do loads of videos about autism because I kind of understand autistic people really well, even though I'm not autistic myself. I have some similar complementary traits, shall we say, because I'm very direct. But I was always brought up to be like that, really, but it's just like, even if you're autistic, you're still beautiful, you're still valid. And if you want a relationship, it's still possible for you. If you do, if you're the type of person that doesn't and is happy without, that's fair enough. But you require someone who really understands you. Like I do get attracted to autistic guys because I see the beauty and the advanced intelligence that they have. I mean, to me, a lot of autistic guys, they have super intelligence. Like their levels probably on Mensa, it's like super intelligent. And they're into creative pursuits usually and lots of projects. And I love that energy. It's very attractive to me, that creative, that intelligent energy. I find that super attractive. I'm really drawn to it. And also I tend to be able to connect with autistic guys on a very deep emotional level that's not actually usually possible in some cases. Some autistic people really struggle connecting emotionally with other human beings. Maybe they connect more emotionally with pets and stuff like that, And so it's very interesting that I can connect emotionally with autistic guys. I can understand them. Like sometimes I can know what they're thinking or feeling better than themselves. Well, I've actually had one of my friends there, like, what I'm thinking and feeling better than me. As I understand how their brain works, I understand it instinctively, intuitively a lot of the time. And so I get them, and because I have an anxious personality myself, because I do have I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder level 4 years ago, even though I managed it very well. I know what anxiety looks like and what it does to you. And I do have relationship anxiety, so I can understand any autistic guys that find it really difficult to be in a relationship because it's too nerve-wracking. Because a lot of the time for me, I'm happier out of a relationship, in terms of I don't get so worried, because when I'm in a relationship, I tend to fret about the other person. I tend to worry about what they're doing. I tend to worry about, like, how they're feeling about the relationship. I tend to worry, are they messaging me now? Why aren't they messaging me? And I haven't. So, I do get that, And when I'm on my own, I don't, the majority of the time I'm good. Obviously, with my friends, I do like to hear from them and see how things are going because it's nice. Best friends. Liam, I was 30 when I was diagnosed. I was 30 when I was diagnosed. It's 34 now. I'm not the most intelligent, though. Oh, bless you. Wow, so you've only known for 4 years. Well, my friend Sam, they're still waiting for a full autistic diagnosis. They've said that they think Sam's on the autistic spectrum. Sam, I know, wouldn't mind me saying this because they kind of talk about it a lot anyway. But yeah. I mean, obviously every autistic person's different, Some can be in relationships, some can't, some don't want relationships, some do. But you have to understand that your autism is part of your beauty as well, right? So just like you shouldn't apologize for being asexual, you shouldn't apologize for being autistic. It's part of who you are. You just need to gain understanding about yourself and the world around you and develop skill sets and training in things, right? Because most people think things come naturally, like relationships and dating. It's not. It's things that you learn through gaining skills or life experience, It's not something that's natural. Like, you don't pop out of the womb knowing everything about certain subjects. It just doesn't happen. Sorry about the noise in the background. It's like outside. I can't do anything about that. But yeah, I don't even know if you can hear it, but it's like a siren going around. But yeah, you have to understand that who you are is your beauty, and for every type of thing that you might come across or everything you might feel about yourself, maybe there's something that that's society doesn't recognize as being a necessary good thing, or it doesn't it has some stigma around it or something. You have to understand that your difference is your beauty. Like I said, I see a lot of I'm usually attracted to autistic guys because they're different. I don't actually like normal. I don't usually do normal. Normal's very boring to me. I like guys who are different. And so, and I see a lot of good things about them as well, autistic guys. I think it very much depends on the individual person. But you have to, just think, if you come out about your autism or if you're proud of it, you can help other people that are autistic as well to develop and learn and grow skills like you've done if you've learned some stuff in your life. Liam, 31. I was diagnosed in 2017, just before I turned 31. Oh, wow. Oh, 3 years ago instead of 4 years ago. I see, because it was just before you turned 31. Oh, well, I think sometimes it's good for us to be aware of who we are, and I think it's good for us to diagnose ourselves as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes we just know we are a certain way without people necessarily formally telling us something as well. So I think it's very important to acknowledge that as well. I know certain things about myself, and I know how to take care of myself holistically. So a lot of the time, like now, my health's a lot better because I've took back control of my life in that respect. I'm using a lot more health products again, the way I was originally using them. I got back to that, so I built my immune system back up. So I'm pretty much back on track with my health now. I'm putting my health first, and so I use a lot of health products, whereas in place of doctor's tablets, and it's much better for me. And so I think sometimes we just have to trust ourselves more, and just like, asexuality is non-negotiable, and we shouldn't apologize for being asexual. You don't ever apologize for who you are. Just learn, grow, and develop yourself in your own beauty. whether that's your autistic beauty or it's your asexual beauty or both. You have to do what works well for you, and life's a challenge for anyone. When you're different, it can be even more challenging. But I think when you're different and you don't fit in with the norm anyway, it's more easier in some ways to just do what the hell you want, because like, people can just drop the expectations about you anyway, because it's like, well, she's not normal, so therefore it doesn't matter what I do. I'm like, yeah, I'm not normal, it's great, I just do what the hell I want, and it doesn't matter because I'm not normal, and that just about covers everything else being different, so I can do what the hell I want within the not normal realm, because then that's pretty much gives me a license to be free and do what I like. And I think that's the way people need to look at it as well, that being asexual gives you a license to be free, have the freedom you truly want and desire, because you see life in a completely different way, you see people in a different way, you live life much in a different kind of planet and universe, although it's the same one. And it's just very freeing when you actually embrace yourself being different, being quirky, being original, being far out, being splendorously, excitingly not the same as everyone else. It actually gives you a free reign. If you look at it and you actually physically in your mind take yourself out of society's sexual stuff going on, and you remove yourself from that, even though you're in it, it's kind of like you're watching a movie, but you're not actually in the movie anymore. You're kind of like on the outskirts. It's like they're in their own movie in the screen, and you're just kind of watching it and going your own merry way and doing your own thing. So you're more observing it than actually being in it, if you know what I mean, which can feel a bit weird sometimes. But if you're different and you're seen as different by other people, and you live into your different identity rather than trying to make yourself something you're not, you actually get a lot more personal power and a license to be free. Once you stop worrying about people judging you, you stop worrying about loads of people judging you, you free yourself up. All that tension and that stress and worry and anxiety about what people think of you just depletes a lot of it. And if people say you're not normal, just say, yeah, hey, I'm not normal, I don't wish to be, thanks very much, thanks for the compliment, really appreciate it. The more you agree with them like that, say, yeah, I'm not normal, that's fine, like, you're a robot, you're normal, I'm not, thanks very much, I don't want to be a robot. The more you live in your essence and being, the more you live in your difference, the more you start to see life as kind of like, this is my life, that's their life. We mingle and we mix sometimes, but we're our own individual beauty. The more we can just like free ourselves of all that. Once you start freeing yourself up of expectations of other people, of judgments of other people, of people like saying you should be this, that and the other, once you free yourself of all that criticism, that judgment, that trying to be something you're not, that kind of like being poised and thinking, oh, I can't be like this, but I want to because people are saying this about me, they're criticizing me, they're judging me, I can't be like this, but I'm trying to force myself to be. The more you stop doing that, and the more you turn away from that and say, something, no, I can't do that, it's not who I am. I wish you well in your life, I wish you happiness, love, laughter, whatever you want in your life, but I'm going my own way. It's very freeing, because you're not conforming then, you're not pushing yourself to conform to something. When you stop conforming, you can stop conforming in multiple aspects of your life, which gives you a free reign, because no longer do people see you normal, you agree with them, I'm not normal, therefore they expect you to be different, they expect you to behave not like the rest of the world. So then when you do, they're like, oh yeah, that's a person that's not normal, and they carry on about their daily routine. You end up your abnormality to society's expectations becomes your strength, it becomes your diversity, it becomes your speciality, it becomes your fuel and your fire and your passion of life. It becomes something that's wonderful to you, that's earthly, that's exciting, And that's what I've done, basically, like in 2012, I started to stand apart from the society in the world. Like, I didn't find out I was asexual to 2014, but I started my personal and professional development journey in 2012. It's then I decided to live like a teenager and absolutely FC UK what other people think, And it's like, I actually went in a group not so long ago to do with moths, because moths are my spirit totem. And they went in there, and this one woman started criticising me, going, because I took a video of this moth, it was flying around. I posted it in the group. She goes, "Oh, can't see the moth for all your cuddly toys." And she was so rude, and two other people rude to me. I just left the group. I don't need that in my life, you know. And but I did post, you know. I'm like, well, yeah, I like cuddly toys, you know. So she was being criticising the fact I have cuddly toys, but I don't give a stuff nor monkeys. Like, I live in my own self-contained flat, but in a house, right? The part down in the house, everyone in the house is lovely, by the way. So there's a guy who lives upstairs in his own self-contained flat in the house, and there's a mother and daughter, which are really nice people, right? But we all have our own separate lives. We all keep to ourselves usually. And so, you know, they have a life of their own, and I have a life of my own. But when I have to go through their hallway to get up to my stairs, because I live like in the middle of the house with my flat. You know, they have kind of like more normal furniture, more normal pictures, more normal layout. It's kind of like the same sort of feeling I get when I go around my parents in terms of decor. It's kind of normal decor. You come into mine and it's like so much makes me happier, because it's not normal. I don't want a normal decor. I get bored with normal, because, you know, like, I've got beautiful things, you know, like I've got unicorn slippers in the back. I've even got that's bear paper from my birthday, because I like bear paper. You know, I've got Disney, you know, like Disney throw. I've got Mickey Mouse in the background that turns into a cushion. I mean, I've got eels all over my bed. I've got sparkly things, cuddly toys all over the place, you know? I've got beautiful coloured things. I've got, like, interesting pictures. I mean, to me, this is bliss. This environment for me is absolute bliss. I go and I see bare minimal stuff, or I see a brown carpet, or just minimal pictures on the wall, or just the way it's done, and there's not much colour there. I feel like really weird and strange, like a bit like an alien, and it's not my type of environment. A bit like the normal world. I don't want to live in a normal world. I want to live in an abnormally sparkly, magical, beautiful world, which is what I do in my flat. I love coming back to my flat, and, you know, in comparison to being in other people's homes, I love coming back to my flat and, like, yes, I'm so happy I'm in Princess Kingdom again, you know? And I love living a young teenager lifestyle. I absolutely adore it. And the more you start holding your hand up and saying, hey, I'm different. Yeah, I live like a teenager. It's great. I love it. The more people, like, some people do judge you, criticize you. I've even had people in the asexual community write stuff about me, you know? And I'm like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh, Sandra's not a grown up. It's like, well, just because I live like a teenager doesn't mean to say you can't be like a young adult teenager, does it? Do you know what I mean? And I know perfectly well, with my experience in life and my skills and mindset, that of course I can be you know, like, experienced and help a lot of people, and, you know, like, still be adult in the sense of responsibility and achievement, you know. But I like living like a teenager. It's very healthy for me. I'm not going to spend, like, every day of my life living as other people want me to be in my actual birth certificate age. That does absolutely no good for me. It's no good for my health, no good for my mindset, no good for my body. And it's kind of like a completely different person to who I actually am. I'll live my own life, my own 21st mindset age, and live like a 15-year-old teenager and be very happy about it. Thank you very much. You know, and a lot of the time people criticize because they're not happy with their own lives, you know. Like, one of the people who even watches this show, she sent me a link to, like, some hair dye for grey hair. It's like, I haven't got grey hair. It's like, you know, just because that person's older doesn't mean to say I'm like that, because I have a 21st mindset. I live like a teenager on purpose. I keep myself as young as possible. And even if I had grey hair, it probably looked like white. And I was white originally when I was a kid. So if I go and have lots of white hair again, I'm just going to go back to my natural colour. So from what I was as a kid, which is just off-white, you know? So grey hairs a lot of the time are actually white hairs a lot of the time. Have you noticed that? But, you know, I don't dye my hair. I've never dyed my hair. And so, you know, it is what it is. If I had any grey hairs, I would just pluck them out and get rid of them if I wanted to. Do you know what I mean? People can get, like, even girls of 20 years old, they can get, like, hair on their face. They can get, like, a mustache on their face. And they're not trying to change gender. It's just the hormones and the way their body is. Do you know what I mean? So, but I thought it was a bit like, I wasn't actually I'm like, why have you sent me this hair dye for grey hairs? I don't grey hairs. Thank you anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because people are uncomfortable with you being different. Even in a sexual minority, some people are uncomfortable with you being different within that minority because it doesn't fit their expectations, right? So, like one of my other friends, they're like one day, like, because I like younger guys, they're like, well, why don't you get a baby if you like a young guy? It's like, I don't want a baby. I've never wanted children. I don't want to mother a guy. I want him to be completely independent and be able to cook and clean for him damn self. I'm not interested in baby. I don't want to mother a guy. I'm not that type of person. And again, this is just ill assumptions and quite rude, to be honest with you. And it's quite shocking when other people in the asexual community are saying these things to me. But at the end of the day, it just shows that they are being narrow-minded within their own community about other things. Do you know what I mean? And it's like a shame. I hope they learn and develop and grow themselves and realise that, just as much as they won't want to be judged as asexuals, like, don't judge me for like the way I lead my life. But then, like I said earlier in this video, everyone will judge people anyway. So if they want to do that, it makes them happy, then, carry on it. At the end of the day, I'm still going to be me. Like, I don't live my life for other people. I live it for me. And by living a 21st mindset, I've literally reprogrammed my mind to be like I'm 21 years old. Using neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, right? You can reprogram my mind to do a lot of things. By resetting my mind and reprogramming my mind like that, it means that I can have like a lot of the time my body, if you saw it naked, which you're not going to, but a lot of the time my skin is like really young. Not on my hands. My hands, I get dermatitis on. I have to use this type of thing for my hands. My hands actually look older than I am, birth certificate age. I'm going to put some cream on them now because I'm just thinking about that. My hands look even much older than I actually really am in birth certificate age. It's a bit of an annoyance, but, but yeah, so my hands are the only thing that really look old on me, and they look older than even I actually am in birth certificate age. It's just the way it is. I get dermatitis, it can't be helped. But actually my skin in general, my body looks very, very young. And I'm blessed, but I have good genes, because my parents look younger than they are. My dad has really young legs, even though he's male, in terms of skin. I don't fancy my dad in terms of skin and that, you know what I mean? So, what I say is just live your life and live in your own beauty and difference. And the more you accept your own difference and actually take a step back from society and say, hey, I'm different, I'm really proud, and keep being more and more different, the more you actually separate yourself from that, till eventually a lot of the people are like, oh, she's so crazy, she's so far out, I can't be bothered to speak to her because she won't understand anyway, which is very patronizing. But they kind of think, oh, you're too far out, too far away, so you won't understand normal things, so they go off in their own little bubble, and you're like, okay, bye. Don't want to be in the normal bubble, I want to be in the different bubble. So it's very important for you to live in your own asexual beauty, to live in your own autistic beauty if you're autistic, to live in your own personal power and to be different. The crazy thing is no two human beings are the same. Yet a lot of human beings are striving to be like everyone else, striving to be normal. Normal is a complete fallacy. Some women, they religiously wear makeup 24/7 pretty much, or from the moment they get up. They can't go outside without makeup on. They can't do it. They're like, I've got to put my face on. It's like, you've already got a face. You're shoving chemicals on your face now, which is going to actually age you quicker. But carry on if that's what you want. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't wear makeup very often, I've got good skin in general, but I do get dermatitis on it still because I have lots of food allergies and intolerances, so I have to keep it topped up, with creams and stuff, which is a bit of pain in the butt. But you know what I mean? But I don't have like deteriorating skin in lots of ways. So, and even if you do have things that aren't quite right, if you are like sat here thinking, well, I actually one of these people that is aging and I'm not feeling great about myself. Like, again, everything is your beauty. So live in the age that you want to be, or the age that makes you feel good. Like, if you are 50 or 60 or 70 and you're thinking, oh, I'm feeling old, right? That's the thing. You're feeling old. You can choose your feeling. And you can change whatever you want about your life, or you can keep it as it is. And some people start businesses in their 60s or 70s, and some people are very good because they're like, they'll do like there might be a business where they have like I don't know, like an online meetup specifically for the over 50s or something, or they have like like they write books specifically for the over 60s or something, or or they specialize in certain things like social media for the over 50s and stuff like that. So it's, everything has its beauty, and some people, they look really good on their age, however, and they want to promote their age to help other people be proud of whatever age they are, in birth certificate age. I just don't feel like I like my birth certificate age personally for me, and I'm not comfortable with it because it's not who I actually identify as I am. I identify more as a 21-year-old that, I've trained myself to be, but I don't tell people that 21 is my birth certificate age. I say I've got a birth certificate age and 21 is my mindset and live like a teenager. So my point is no matter where you are at in your life, no matter what things you might have that's different about you, your difference is your beauty, and it's non-negotiable. Don't allow people to negotiate your life or your lifestyle or the way you live it, or make you feel like you should be a certain way because you're this age or you're that gender and this type of thing. It's just not good for you. Don't take back and say I've made a mistake or I'm confused when you're not, because that just undermines you. It undermines your confidence, it undermines your self-esteem, it undermines you going forward in your life. It makes you feel shit, excuse my language. Do you know what I mean? You don't want that. You want to be in a place where you're like, oh, I'm actually happy with who I am. You aren't. You got a problem? Okay, bye. Off you go with your problem. One time, I had one guy come on this channel just to tell me in chat that he didn't like me and went off. You've come all the way on this channel just to say you don't like me. Okay, thanks. You've told me you don't like me. And there are going to be some people that don't like me. That's fair enough. If you don't like me, I don't mind. Do you know what I mean? It's going to happen, isn't it? Not everyone's going to like me. I don't expect them to. And that's the thing, when we have expectations as well of how we expect other people to behave and their attitude towards us, we can end up being disappointed. So it's best to have less expectations. So when you tell someone you're asexual, don't expect them to be thrilled for you or happy for you or understand it. Just be strong enough to feel that, strong enough in yourself to have the attitude that the assumption that they are going to do that. Like, not expect it, but have the confidence in yourself and strength to be so strong in it that it makes it less likely for them to be able to disprove it or say something against it or not accept it. Because with strength comes power, and the more you are in your own personal power and the stronger you are in and of your own right, and the more you stand by yourself. Like, if you think about your best friend, you're going to stand by your best friend, aren't you? Usually through thick and thin. You're going to be there for them. You have to be a best friend to yourself. You have to literally stick up for yourself in life. You have to literally stand by yourself as though your own best friend. If your best friend's getting bullied, you're going to just sit there and take it. You're going to be in silence, just keep the peace, or you're actually going to say something and stick up for yourself and say, I'm happy with who I am. Oh, Liam, I don't like you, Sandra. I love you. Oh, thank you, Liam. So bless you. I love you too. You're beautiful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I mean, even at a recent asexual meetup that I had, which was really good, Sam was there. One of the people who at the meetup was saying about the fact, because there was a topic that came up that is not of interest to me personally, and I went quiet, and then the person was like, oh, the way to shut Sandra up. And I'm like, well, why would you want to shut me up? Because why would someone want to shut me up? That's not particularly nice, pleasant thing to think about. Why would someone want to shut me up? Because speaking is my beauty. The power of communication is incredible. Some people can't even speak to other people. Some people can't even communicate to other people. And life would be very boring if we all sat around there saying nothing or not all the same. Do you know what I mean? So my difference is my beauty. Like, speaking has always been a superpower of mine. You know, if I wasn't, like, I've been speaking nearly non-stop now for 2 hours. If I wasn't good at speaking, I wouldn't be able to be here right now with you in this moment. And just think how precious that is. You know, just think how precious that is when some people don't even have their lives anymore. Some people have no asexuals that they know. Some people don't even know they're asexual. The thing of all the asexuals that are out there that don't even know they're asexual, that feel different, or even discover they're asexual, and they have no one to talk to about asexuality. They have no one that understands them. They don't know another asexual online or at all. Just think of all those people, you know? I'm blessed to be able to have a voice. I'm blessed to be able to speak out. I'm blessed to be able to be strong, you know? Liam, you're a great speaker. Thank you, Liam. I appreciate you. You know, my speaking is my beauty. You know, it's a strength. That's how I'm able to reach so many people. You know, I get people in private message that come along and like, oh, what's your channel? I didn't know they were watching. They told me they were watching, you know? And so I am able to, with my voice, reach global audience, reach loads of people around the world. If I couldn't speak, if I was afraid of speaking, I wouldn't be able to do that. And do you know something? When I was a kid, when I was under 10 years old, I didn't speak that much to people. I was very shy, but I was very lonely and cut off from the world and depressed and fed up and miserable. I decided to change myself. I decided that it would be no good for me being this quiet, shy person, that it wasn't going to do me any good for my future. I decided that at 10 years old that I was going to start coming out of my shell more. And in my teenage years, I decided even more I would stop being shy and I would be more bold and brave, and I would come out more about, you know, talking about things in life. 15 years old, I went to do voluntary, I was doing voluntary radio presenting, and at 15 as well, I went to a radio station to do some work experience. And I discovered then that I'm born to be in the media in some way, 15 years old. You know, so some people, they won't see your beauty. They will actually think badly of things about you or negatively because they won't be like you and they don't understand you. But I'm here to tell you now to be yourself, to courageously put each step forward and to be you. And it won't always be keeping the peace. You'll have to fight sometimes to be who you are. But would you see a friend get bullied and keep being tormented, or will you say something to them, to the people who are bullying, to the people who are being nasty? Would you keep letting your friend be in the corner and you not go up to them because you're worried about what people say because they're different and other people don't like them? How would you treat someone else, and how are you treating yourself? I've always used speaking to my advantage. I've been heavily criticised by some people who I love who about speaking. But speaking is a wonderful thing, you know, like I've been to a public speaking course as well in London, and public speaking is meant to be more feared than death, because I know public speaking people who teach public speaking, it's meant to be like one of the most things that's feared more than death. I'm not fearful like that. I do have anxiety if I'm talking in front of a live audience, as it were, but I have anxiety anyway, so I'm going to be a bit like that. But I still go through with it, and I still know I'm born to speak. I'm born to speak on stage. I'm born to speak on stage in front of thousands of people. I've always known that for the last years. I should be at more. That's what I'm meant to be doing. I'll get there in the end. I'll get there in the end. More and more. Obviously, as a speaker at the UK Asexuality Conference in 2018, which you can see the footage on this channel. You know, but you have to understand your difference. I have to, you know, I'm around people now, the majority of people who I call close friends, who are excited to see me, who like talking with me, who enjoy my company, who like having interactive conversations, who speak quite a lot when I'm around, probably more than when I'm not around sometimes. And who are like one of my friends, they're like, oh, when they speak to someone else, they don't have a flowing conversation. It kind of is difficult and uncomfortable sometimes. Whereas with me, the conversation's always flowing, so they don't feel like uncomfortable. They, they there's no uncomfortable silences, and that's a huge benefit of obviously being around someone like me. I don't never have nothing to say. It's even like when I'm thinking of having a Skype date with a guy. Sometimes the guy's like really nervous. He's like, I don't know what to say. I'm like, it's fine because I can talk. I want them to talk as well. But obviously, if they are struggling to know what to talk about, then they don't need to worry because I've got enough words for the both of us. Obviously, I don't want to be doing all the talking because that's not fair. I want to listen to them. But it helps to know that I don't really run out of things to say a lot of the time. So then, they know that they're not going to have uncomfortable silences, which is what they don't want. They know that they are going to have a good time during that conversation usually. So that's a bonus. But speaking's a very highly sought after skill and talent. So what I'm trying to say is, like, some people with any character traits or personality traits or even looks, they might see things as disadvantages. They might not like it. They might try and be mean about it. But you have to understand that all your differences are your beauty. The way you physically look, the way your personality is, your character traits, they make up who you are. And no one has the right to think they're any better than you or that their way should be the way things are done. Right? People talk about, oh, like, you speak a lot, like there's something wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's only people who believe that quietness is better and it's better to say less words that believe in that. But as someone who enjoys talking and the art of talking, I'll probably think, well, being quiet is uncomfortable for me a lot of the time. I like a bit of noise. I work better with some noise. Like if I'm doing some video editing, I found that I work better with some laser lights. Even the whirring of the laser lights is better for me. It's like constant noise, which actually helps me concentrate on video editing because I like music a lot of the time. When I'm video editing, I can't have music on because I can't hear what people are saying. So if I have the laser lights whirling around and I have that type of thing in the background, it actually helps me. Noise helps me. Some people want peace and quiet and less words, but that's them. It's not me. So they shouldn't try to put me in the same box as them and make themselves right and me wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? This is the same for asexuality. Just because we're different asexuality doesn't mean to say we're wrong. No one has the right to say, well, I'm heterosexual, but, and everyone should like sex, and the fact you don't, there's something wrong. There isn't anything wrong. It's just two different individuals having different skills, having different experiences, valuing things differently. Do you know what I mean? That's all it is. It's just people who are different. No one's better or more powerful and stronger or right than the other. It just is what it is. I found out actually a lot of the people in the world are introverted. So therefore, if they're around someone who's more talkative and extrovert, they're gonna notice me more because they're used to being around introverts. Doesn't mean to say it's being introverted is better than being an extrovert. They both have their good qualities. They both have their probably not so advantages, So everyone is diverse, and that's the whole point. We're not here to be carbon copies of each other. We're here to rise and shine in our own right. We're here to love ourselves for who we are. We're here to be in our personal power. We're here to lift our own life up and our own world up, and we're here to be strong in who we are. So we should never be apologizing for who we are. I'm sticking up for myself more now these days because no one has the right to put me down or to say their life's better or that I should be doing this or shouldn't be doing that. That's basically like, well, I'm right and you're wrong. Like some people that I say about speaking, it's like at the end of the day, I love speaking. It's who I am. It's part of who I am. Why would you not want me to speak and be myself? Why would you just want me to sit there and be something I'm not? That's not caring about me or loving about me or even respecting me. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to respect that other people are different. I mean, I know that introverts, a lot of introverts, they get drained of energy if they're around a lot of people. They have to retreat and they have to spend a lot of time on their own. It's just the way they are. This means that when they go out in social situations, they can find it very difficult and draining. Whereas me, I go out in a social situation, I can get a lot of energy from that. I can get a lot of vibrancy and get a lot of like fuel and power, if you know what I mean. So everything has its own advantages and disadvantages, you know? The whole point is we're different. And you should never apologize for being asexual or who you are. You should be proud of who you are. You know, as long as you're not harming anyone or hurting anyone, as long as you've got a good, kind heart and, you know, just accept who you are with all your different quirks and your nuances, you know, and the more you actually live in your difference, the more you separate yourself from society in a way that's good for you and healthy for you, the more that you can be in your personal power and essence of being different, because you remove yourself from people's expectations you should be in a certain way because they're so used to you being different that they don't even question it a lot of the time. Or if they do, then they're not going to get very far with it because it's like, well, it's who you are and that's it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So by some people now that are watching this, I know that you're living in this intensity. You're living in this secret life, this intensity, like, I can't be who I am. No one must know who I am. People won't accept me for who I am. People will judge me. People will be horrible. I can't be who I am. And it's very closed. Your body's very down, closed, scared. But I want you to come out like a beautiful flower. I want you to open your petals. And I want people to see your beauty, who you are. And I want you to grow your own way. I want you to grow your own way and be a bunch of sunflowers out in your own right. And I want people to see your difference and all your multifaceted colours and your different little stems swaying and your petals moving in their own wind. That's what I want for you. I don't want you to be scared and lonely and lost and hating yourself or worried about yourself or frightened to be who you are. I want you to come out in all your beauty. I want you to be strong. I want you to stand on your own two feet and be proud of who you are and not listen to the naysayers, the people that are horrible, the people that are putting you down or belittling you, the people who are passing their opinion on you in a judgmental, negative way, the people that are shunning you or making you shut up. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, as children, sometimes we're told to shut up. We're made to be seen but not heard. Why should that go on in life? I want you to be heard. I want you to come out. I want you to shine your light. I want you to stop living in fear and be truly who you are. I want you to set yourself free. If you need permission from me or someone to be free, be free. I'm giving you the permission now to be free in your own beauty and essence. I want you to start living your truth. I don't want you to be depressed. I want you to find your strength and to live the life that you want. This means speaking to who you want, doing what you want, being who you are, being open and truthful about who you really are. Stop worrying about what other people think. Stop about people judging you. Stop. You have to accept people will judge you. People will judge you. Some people will get criticized. Some people will say horrible things. It happens in life. It's always going to happen. You cannot change the outside world. You can only change your inner world. And that requires strength and courage to face life head on and to open up about all the fears you have. Right? Some people are like, oh, do you really think you should be talking about all your personal stuff like that in front of the world, in front of people? That's like, some people could argue it's not professional. They could argue that it's wrong to do that. Yes, it's not wrong to do that. It's right to open up because no one can get me. No one can get dirt on me, as it were. No one can say, because I'm an open book. They can't say anything that I don't already know about myself. If someone says, "Oh, why?" For example, why have you got a erogenicity channel that's going to have a lot of sexual content on there, and you're asexual? I'm like, well, I've thought about that myself, but my intuition tells me to do it. I've got an erogenous side to me. In some ways, I can help a lot of people, so I'm doing it. I mean, but it's not anything I haven't thought about myself. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of like very interesting. I will see what happens. And so, you know, I just believe that you have to be true to who you are, and you just have to really believe in yourself. And there'll be people that fight against you, you know, and it's crazy to fight against someone's own personality. Crazy. Some people are absolutely, it's not you that's crazy, it's other people that are fighting against your personality. Oh, you shouldn't be this way. Why are you like that? I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? It's like, you should be free to be who you want in your life. You should be free to be and express yourself in whatever way you want, sort of thing. It's not hurting anyone. You know? At the end of the day, you are who you are. You can't be someone else. You can't put yourself into a little box that other people make you be. I don't fit into a tight asexual little box. I'm asexual, but I don't fit into a specific little rigid asexual box. I just don't. Sometimes my behaviour is far too sexual for some asexuals, but it's not sexual enough in behaviour for sexuals, or even those on the sexual end of the spectrum. It's just the way it is. I just have to accept it. We have to, once we kind of surrender to who we really are, and we just trust that we are who we are who we're born to be, and we actually live in that reality of our own, who we're truly meant to be, the more it's freeing. The more you come out about stuff about yourself, the more it frees you. The more you keep secrets and hold things in, the more that possesses you and owns you. Because you live in fear of people saying stuff to you. You live in fear of judgment and criticism. Whereas you come out with things and you expect that you are going to get some criticism and judgment, you grow that. You have to practice that. Anything in life is like a muscle. So if you want to practice not being hurt by criticism, you have to be criticized. You have to have people come into your life that will criticize you, that will judge you, that will put you down, in order to grow your strength muscle in that way, in order to be able to come more and more resistant to it and less affected by it. Because everything's practice. It's like a muscle. You've got to keep practicing the muscle, otherwise it gets weak. It gets weak, and then you start hurting yourself within your body, in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul. So you have to train yourself to get used to, okay, I'm probably going to get some criticism after doing this. I'm probably going to get some backlash. Could be quite a lot, but I'm still going to do it anyway because it's something I feel intuitively or instinctively that I want to do. Something that I think's right for me. However crazy it may look or seem, something I have to do. So this is what we need to do in life. We need to follow our intuition, follow our guidance. We need to stop being afraid. Fear holds us back in life. Fear paralyzes us. Fear makes us depressed. Depression thrives on fear. It loves it. It thrives on fear. It thrives on other people's criticisms. It thrives on you punishing yourself. It thrives on negativity. You have to do all the opposite of that stuff. You have to start loving yourself for who you are. Stop punishing yourself for who you are and love yourself for who you are. Accept it. My whole family's narcissists. I got to cut them all off. Philip. Hi, Philip, by the way. Lots of love. Yes. That's really difficult if your whole family's narcissists. It's very hard. Very hard. Like, yeah, it's very difficult if you've got a family of narcissists. I mean, sometimes it depends on the individual whether you need to cut them off or just limit your time with them and manage the situation as best you can. It depends. I know individuals. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's your life. I know some individuals that cut off completely. I know some people that limit their time with those individuals, and there are other people that try and manage their own personality and emotions and things of, when they're around those people. I had a narcissist person in my old job, so I know what they're like. And it's very difficult because but with a narcissist, it's hard to be yourself unless you get away from these people or limit your time and spend less time with them, because they will literally drag you down and be so negative, and they will make you try and be scared of them, and you have to not retaliate back to them. And that's kind of hard because you're like not sticking up for yourself then. But they thrive on being the center of attention as well, and you saying stuff back to them. So walking away is a lot better. And, like, I'm thankful that I'm not in that job anymore. I had a narcissist that was horrible to me, like bullying me for 4 out of 5 years. It was ridiculous. I was made redundant from that job in 2017. So I'm free of narcissists in that way now. It's great. You always get one person usually in a job that's not great anyway. But yeah, you've got to, it's hard, It's good if you live on your own though, because obviously if you live on your own and you're not in the narcissistic environment, so you can get away from it. If you still live at home with your parents or relations or some siblings or something, and any of those are narcissistic, thank you, thumbs up, lots of love, because then it becomes difficult, because you kind of like feel, I mean, that negativity just feeds into you, doesn't it? Oh, thanks for the hearts, lots of love. The negativity like kind of feeds into you when you don't want it to. It's very hard to thrive in a consistently negative environment, people making you feel bad, whichever thing you do. People who are constantly giving you negativity, it's just like, it's like, I need a break. Do you know what I mean? It's not good to be around narcissists, especially if you've got a whole family of them. I have had other asexuals. I don't know if you're asexual, but I've had other people, asexuals in my group, say about stuff like this, and they've had to cut family members off. Sometimes you have to, for your own sanity. It depends how bad the narcissist and narcissism is. Sometimes you have to cut off for your own sanity and peace of mind and health and happiness. We have to do what we got to do in life, but other times we can manage the situation and put strategic measures in place to have like limited damage done to ourselves, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's very tough. Sorry about that, Philip. I hope that you've got a plan and worked out what you want to do about that. That's what I would say, is sit down and work out what's best for you. I mean, no one's in your situation but you, so I'm sure you'll make the right decision for you in the end, whatever that is. There was one asexual in one of my groups, and they've had to completely cut their family off, and they were like, and I said, and they were feeling much happier and better and healthier and everything. And I said, well, good for you, They were surprised by my reaction. And I'm like, but at the end of the day, it's your life, and it's not your parents' or family or friends' life, and you have to do what's right for you and whatever makes you overall feel the happiest and healthiest for you, and whatever that is, like I've known some really bad cases of family abuse as well, which I'm not going to get into. It's private stuff with them, but and they've had to get away from their family indefinitely, even though they wish their family wasn't like that. I've not had that. I'm talking about other people. But physical stuff and all sorts of really bad mental stuff going on. So, it happens, unfortunately. And you have to, it takes a really strong, brave person to accept themselves for who they are and to thrive and flourish and still love themselves despite any type of thing like narcissistic people and family members that you may come up against. It takes a lot more strength to do that. I mean, I personally find it easier if people who are horrible are people that I don't know. If I get people on this channel I don't know, strangers being horrible to me, I'm like, whatever, couldn't care less. I think for me it's more difficult if it's someone I know, especially if I thought they were a friend before. that's harder. But I do get over it, because at the end of the day, I realise it's their problem, it's not my problem. Do you know what I mean? I can't change their behaviour or the way they think. I think they need to get some help for that. You know what I mean? If all they can do is try and shove some misery someone's way for the sake of it, I just think they've got a lot of issues and problems of their own that they need to help with, that they need counselling for or something. You know what I mean? Because you should never be living your life to go out specifically to be revengeful or to hurt other people and to come and say nasty things to them, especially when it's completely undeserved. Do you know what I mean? So, and some people, they're liars, or they're just not being true to who you think they are, because they're not being true to you. So, you know, you've got to understand that, you know, you've got to keep being yourself no matter what. And sometimes it's hard, you know. I've had a battle with people accepting me for who I am, but if they don't accept me, then at the end of the day, that's fine. But don't be horrible to me. There's no need to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, go your own way. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, I love the way I am. When I look at my life, I love the teenager lifestyle I have. I love the beautiful flat I have with all the beautiful colours in it. I love living my life like I live, you know. I love doing this channel. I love writing. I love designing. I love training. I love so much about my life. You know, I mean, I don't have a ton of money. Some people think I'm really rich or something. I'm not really rich at all. I mean, I lost my job in 2017 to redundancy. In a way, it happened at the right moment, because I'm like 3 years ahead of everyone else that's been made redundant this year. So yeah, so, you know, I work from home, but I don't make the amount of money I need to make to sustain that on my own. So I have to get some help with that as well, financial stuff. So, you know, but I just love my life, you know. I love being in the moment. I love being me. I love helping asexuals. I love doing this channel. And I don't apologise for my asexuality, and neither should anyone, you know. I love being asexual. People have said, you know, people say in forums and groups, if you could have a choice about being asexual or not, what would you choose? And I would choose asexuality. Is not a choice. I have to say that. It's not the same as celibacy or abstaining. You know, like, asexuality is a sexual orientation that's lack of sexual attraction. It is what it is. But people do ask, if you had a choice about sexuality and you could choose to be heterosexual, for example, or asexual, what would you choose? And I would choose asexuality every single time. I don't want to be a person who gets sexually attracted to other people. I don't want to be a person who does that. It's strange not experiencing that sometimes, but I don't want to be a person, because I don't like sex. I'm not interested in having a relationship with someone's genitals in that way. It doesn't interest me in the slightest. So I have no wish or desire to have sexual attraction, because I don't want sexual intercourse. It doesn't interest me. It doesn't do anything for me. So, you know, I don't apologise for being asexual. I don't wish I was anything else but asexual. I think it's great. If I wasn't asexual, I wouldn't be able to meet all you wonderful people in the stream. I wouldn't be able to hold asexual meetups and finally feel like, despite being different, even on the asexual spectrum, I still fit in amongst people where I previously didn't, you know. And even though we're all different asexuals, I just feel like I found the people who I resonate with the most and who care about me the most. I care about them, specifically my best friend Sam. A lot of the time, you just like wish that you had a best friend, and I got an amazing best friend in Sam. You know, for years I wished I had a best friend like Sam. They're incredible. You know, they mean a lot to me. And so it's really nice when you can meet other asexuals, you know. But if I wasn't open and honest about my asexuality, I wouldn't be able to meet all these asexuals, and vice versa. Oh, thank you, Sam. Yeah, I'm so glad. I'm so glad my asexuality left me. Left me. Left me. My asexuality left me. No, he didn't leave me. My asexuality led me to my best friend Sam. You know, and to everyone in chat. Obviously, Liam is a regular on here. Do you know what I mean? And Kyle was a person who came on one of my streams when it was early morning and I hadn't had any sleep for like hours, and said, "You're beautiful." And that was what I got first thing in the morning. I thought that was a beautiful morning message. the other day, so that's really sweet. But yeah, so I'm going to conclude this video because I've been streaming for nearly 2.5 hours now, and say that your difference is definitely your beauty, and reiterate that, and that your asexuality is not negotiable, and then don't ever take away your asexuality or take back the fact you're asexual and pretend you're not, or say I'm confused when you're not. Right? Live your truth. Be brave, be bold, and say, this is who I am. Like it or lump it. It is who I am. People don't have to agree with you. They don't have to accept it if they don't want. But you have an obligation to yourself, and you should be who you're born to be. And your obligation to yourself is to speak your truth, is to live in your personal power, your magnificent essence of your difference, and to truly just come out and be strong in who you are, regardless of what anyone else says, thinks, or does. This is part of my Embrace Your Quirky philosophy. So if you didn't know, in 2012, I overcame depression using my Embrace Your Quirky philosophy. And the Embrace Your Quirky philosophy is all about being your true, authentic self, no matter what anyone else says, thinks, or does. That's what you need to think. I'll be my true, authentic self, regardless of what anyone else says, thinks, or does, because I love being me. Learn to love being you. It's very important. Sam, it's your life. Live it your way. Attract the right people into it. I 100% agree with you, Sam. Like Sam said, it's your life. Live it your way and attract the right people into it. The people that are wrong for you will leave your life, or you'll leave theirs. The people that are right for you will come to you and be attracted by you once you're living your true, authentic self. Asexuals can't find you if you're not being your true, authentic self. The more your asexual, unique beautifulness, the more other asexuals can find you. You're like a beacon. I'm asexual, and then you can attract other asexuals to you and live more of a happy asexual life, which is what I want for you. So don't negotiate your asexuality. Don't neglect your asexuality. Don't take away your personal power. Live in your asexual beauty. Be bold, be brave, and say, I'm asexual. For definite. That's it. Non-negotiable. I'm not apologising for it. I just love being asexual. And I'm happy because I know other asexuals online, and hopefully you'll get to know other asexuals in person. And just don't care what people think. Yes, your parents might be your parents, but they're not you. People get this so confused. They think relatives, family members have the right to their life and to own who they are. And so they live in the shadows instead of living who they are. Just because your parents gave birth to you doesn't mean to say they own you or own who you are. You're your own person, your own right. Right? You've got to understand this. You're your own person. Not teachers, not family, not friends have the right to dictate to you who you should not be and who you should be. Only you have that power. Surround yourself with friends who are like-minded and or who support you in your own goals, ambition, dreams, and support you in your asexual beauty. Like my best friend Sam really supports me, and I support them. You know, my best friend Sam's non-binary, so they're the first non-binary best friend I've ever had in my life. So that's really good, and I think it's great. I love supporting them in that. It's very important. Very important. And the less we judge other people, the less we judge ourselves as well, which is always a beneficial thing. So the more we accept ourselves, the more we'll accept other people, because we don't resent the fact that they're being themselves when we're not. We actually can celebrate with them by being true to who we are, and we feel happier in ourselves and more content. Anyway, I'm going to live for you and leave you at that. I want to say thank you ever so much to all the people that's been in chat. Lots of love to my best friend Sam. Lots of love to Liam. You're beautiful as usual. Beautiful Tech. Hi. Lots of love to you. Lots of love to Kyle. And lots of love to Philip. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking a lot of time out of your day. I know some of you have been with me for pretty much the whole 2.5+ hours. I love you dearly for it. Thank you for being here in this time and space and giving up some of your precious time to spend with me. I cannot thank you enough. Remember, love who you are. Be true to who you are. Come out and be that beautiful sunflower. And I will see you on the next video live stream. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit the great big bell icon. That way you get notified of every time I go live. Right now I post a new video. Remember to make sure your notifications are switched on for YouTube for my channel as well. Then you should get a notification popped up and not miss an episode. And don't forget to embrace your quirky and each other's. As always, give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already and you love this video. And I really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Philip, to you. Thank you, Sam. Thanks, Liam, Kyle, and everyone else. Till next time, brace your quirky and each other. I'll see you on the next video live stream. Lots of love and thanks for watching. Take care. Keep being you. Lots of love. Bye.